What if your daily habits are silently shaping your destiny, without you even realizing it? This audiobook will show you how tiny, atomic changes compound into extraordinary transformation. It's time to rewire your behavior and become 50 times better at anything you choose. Chapter 1. Small habits, big results. You wake up every morning with the best of intentions. Today will be different. Today you'll exercise, eat better, read more, work smarter. But by evening, you're scrolling your phone, eating takeout, wondering where the day went wrong. Sound familiar? You're staring at the same reflection of yourself from 6 months ago, feeling like you're running in place while everyone else sprints ahead. The gap between who you are and who you want to become feels insurmountable. Here's what everyone gets wrong about change. They think big results require big actions. They believe transformation comes from dramatic overhauls, complete lifestyle redesigns, or superhuman willpower. This is precisely why most people fail. In this chapter, we'll shatter the myth that success requires massive action and discover why the smallest changes create the most profound transformations. You'll learn why your past attempts failed and how to harness the hidden power of atomic habits, the compound effect myth. We live in a culture obsessed with overnight success stories. The entrepreneur who built a billion-dollar company in 2 years, the athlete who went from unknown to champion in 1 season, the author whose first book topped bestseller lists. What we don't see are the thousands of small, seemingly insignificant actions that preceded these overnight successes. The entrepreneur who coded for 3 years before launching. The athlete who practiced fundamentals daily since childhood. The author who wrote consistently for a decade before publishing. Your brain is wired to notice dramatic changes and dismiss subtle ones. When you see someone achieve remarkable results, you assume they did something remarkable. This cognitive bias keeps you trapped in the cycle of attempting massive changes that inevitably fail. The science of small changes. Research from Stanford University reveals that people who make tiny changes to their routines are 40% more likely to maintain those changes after 1 year compared to those who attempt major overhauls. The reason lies in how your brain processes change. Your neural pathways are like well-worn paths through a forest. Major changes require bushwhacking through dense undergrowth, exhausting your mental energy. Small changes follow existing trails, requiring minimal effort, while gradually redirecting your destination. Consider the mathematics of improvement. If you get 1% better each day for a year, you'll be 37 times better by year's end. But if you get 1% worse each day, you'll decline to nearly 0. The difference between success and failure isn't dramatic. It's atomic. Reframing what matters. Atomic habits aren't just small habits. They're the fundamental units of transformation, like atoms are the building blocks of molecules. Atomic habits are the building blocks of remarkable results. Think of a plane taking off from New York to London. If the pilot adjusts the heading by just 3.5 degrees south, the plane won't land in London. It will arrive in Rome. A tiny change in direction creates a massive difference in destination. Your habits are your life's heading. Small adjustments compound into entirely different outcomes. The person who walks for 10 minutes daily isn't just exercising. They're becoming someone who prioritizes health. The person who reads 2 pages each night isn't just consuming information. They're becoming a learner. The plateau of latent potential. Here's why most people quit before atomic habits work their magic. Results accumulate slowly at first, then all at once. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room at 25 degrees Fahrenheit. You heat the room 1 degree at a time. At 26 degrees, nothing happens. At 28 degrees, still nothing. At 31 degrees, no change. Then at 32 degrees, the ice begins to melt. That single degree made all the difference. But it was really the cumulative effect of all 32 degrees that created the transformation. Your habits work the same way. You might read for 20 minutes daily for months without feeling smarter. You might exercise consistently without seeing physical changes. You might save small amounts without feeling wealthy. Then, suddenly, you cross a threshold. Knowledge compounds. Strength emerges. Wealth accumulates. Breakthrough moments are the result of many previous actions building up the potential required to unleash a major change. 3 Practical strategies for starting small. Strategy 1. The 2-minute rule. Start any new habit with just 2 minutes of action. Want to read more? Read 2 pages. Want to exercise? Put on your workout clothes. Want to meditate? Sit quietly for 2 minutes. The goal isn't to achieve immediate results, it's to establish the identity of someone who does that activity. Strategy 2. Habit stacking. Attach new atomic habits to existing routines. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 1 sentence in my journal. After I sit down for lunch, I will text 1 person I care about. After I close my laptop for the day, I will lay out my clothes for tomorrow. Your current habits are already built into your neural pathways. Use them as launching pads for new behaviors. Strategy 3. Environment design. Make good habits obvious and bad habits invisible. Place a book on your pillow to encourage nighttime reading. Put your phone in another room to reduce mindless scrolling. Lay out your workout clothes the night before to make morning exercise easier. Your environment shapes your behavior more than your intentions do. Real-world application. Sarah, a marketing executive, felt overwhelmed trying to balance career growth with personal health. Instead of attempting a complete lifestyle overhaul, she implemented 3 atomic habits: drinking 1 glass of water upon waking, doing 5 push-ups before showering, and reading 2 pages of a business book during lunch. These tiny changes seemed insignificant at first, but within 6 months, Sarah had increased her water intake by 300%, built enough strength to complete full workout routines, and finished 12 books on professional development. More importantly, she began seeing herself as someone who prioritized health and growth. The transformation wasn't about the water, push-ups, or pages. It was about becoming the type of person who takes consistent action toward her goals. Identity shift. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. When you make your bed, you vote for being organized. When you choose an apple over chips, you vote for being healthy. When you write 1 paragraph, you vote for being a writer. Atomic habits don't just change what you do, they change who you are. And when your identity aligns with your desired outcomes, sustainable change becomes inevitable. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need superhuman discipline. You simply need to understand that small habits, practiced consistently, create extraordinary results. The compound effect of atomic habits will transform your life, not through dramatic gestures, but through the quiet power of doing tiny things well, day after day after day. Your transformation begins with the next small choice you make. Choose wisely, because atomic habits are shaping your future right now. Chapter 2. The power of compounding 1% improvements. You've been lied to about how success really works. Every self-help guru, motivational speaker, and success story you've encountered has painted the same picture. Massive action leads to massive results. Transform your life in 30 days. Lose 30 pounds in a month. Build a 6-figure business overnight. This myth has trapped millions in an endless cycle of starting strong and burning out fast. You begin with tremendous enthusiasm, make dramatic changes for a few weeks, then crash back to your old patterns, feeling like a failure. But what if the problem isn't your lack of willpower? What if the problem is believing that meaningful change should happen quickly? Here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. The most powerful changes happen so slowly they're almost invisible. Real transformation isn't about dramatic leaps, it's about harnessing the mathematical miracle of compound improvement. In this chapter, we'll explore why 1% improvements compound into extraordinary results, how to recognize progress when it feels invisible, and why patience with the process is your greatest competitive advantage. The mathematics of transformation. Let's start with a simple question. Would you rather have $1 million today, or 1 penny that doubles every day for 30 days? Most people choose the $1 million. It's immediate, substantial, and certain. But here's what happens with the penny approach. Day 1, $0 chill. Day 5, $1 chill. Day 5, $1 chill. $16 chill. Day 15, $63 GT4. Day 20, $5G25 and 772 716. Day 30, $5T368T, $772 gel. The penny approach yields over 5 times more money. This is the power of compound interest, and it applies to every area of your life. When you improve by 1% each day, you're not just adding to your abilities, you're multiplying them. The difference between 1% better and 1% worse is enormous over time. After 1 year, you'll be 37.78 times better if you improve daily, or more 0.03 times your original level if you decline daily. Why your brain fights compound growth? Your brain evolved for immediate survival, not long-term optimization. It's wired to notice dramatic changes while dismissing gradual ones. This served our ancestors well when they needed to spot predators or identify sudden threats. But in modern life, this mental programming works against us. Psychologists call this the linearity bias. We expect results to match our efforts in a straight line. Put in effort today, see results today. Work harder this week, achieve more this week. But compound growth follows an exponential curve, not a linear path. This creates what I call the valley of disappointment. That frustrating period where you're putting in consistent effort but seeing minimal results. Most people quit during this valley, mere weeks or months before their efforts would compound into breakthrough results. The ice cube principle in action. Remember our ice cube analogy from chapter 1. This principle applies to every area of improvement. Your skills, relationships, career, health and wealth all follow compound trajectories. Consider learning a new language. The first month feels overwhelming. You struggle with basic vocabulary and simple sentences. Month 2 brings slight improvement, but you still can't hold conversations. Month 3 shows marginal progress. Month 4 feels like you're barely advancing. Around month 5 or 6, something magical happens. Words start flowing more naturally. Conversations become possible. Comprehension jumps dramatically. What felt like linear struggle suddenly becomes exponential progress. This breakthrough wasn't caused by month 6's efforts alone. It was the compound effect of all previous months building the neural pathways necessary for fluency, the plateau of latent potential across life domains. Career compound effect. James worked as a junior developer, consistently learning new coding skills for 30 minutes each morning. For 2 years, his progress felt minimal. Still debugging basic problems, still junior-level tasks. Colleagues who attended intensive boot camps seemed to advance faster initially, but by year 3, James's consistent daily learning had compounded into expertise across multiple programming languages and frameworks. While his bootcamp colleagues hit skill plateaus, James continued exponential growth, eventually becoming the lead developer his company recruited from outside. Health compound effect. Maria started walking 10 minutes daily after being told she was pre-diabetic. For months, she saw no weight loss, no energy improvement, no obvious health changes. Meanwhile, friends who joined expensive gyms or tried extreme diets saw immediate but unsustainable results. 18 months later, Maria's consistent walking had compounded into improved cardiovascular health, natural weight management, increased energy levels, and normal blood sugar readings. Her friends had cycled through multiple failed attempts, while Maria's atomic habit transformed her long-term health. 3 strategies for embracing compound growth. Strategy 1. Process metrics over outcome metrics. Instead of tracking results, track action. Don't measure pounds lost. Measure days you ate vegetables. Don't count money saved. Count automatic transfers made. Don't focus on clients gained. Focus on outreach attempts completed. Process metrics give you daily wins while outcome metrics create daily disappointments. When you celebrate taking action rather than achieving results, you maintain motivation through the valley of disappointment. Strategy 2. The 1% Better Framework. Each day, ask yourself, what's one small way I can improve from yesterday? Don't aim for perfection. Aim for marginal improvement. Read 1 additional page. Do 1 extra push-up. Make 1 more sales call. Send 1 additional thank you note. These micro-improvements seem insignificant daily, but compound into massive advantages over time. A salesperson making 1 extra call daily completes 30-65 additional calls yearly, potentially generating thousands in additional revenue. Strategy 3. Patience investment. Treat patience like an investment in future returns. When you feel frustrated by slow progress, remind yourself that you're earning compound interest on every day of consistent action. The person who sticks with small improvements while others chase quick fixes will ultimately achieve far superior results. Write this equation where you'll see it daily. Consistency, time, small improvements, extraordinary results. Real-world compound success stories. Warren Buffett's wealth compound. Warren Buffett didn't become wealthy through get-rich-quick schemes or dramatic investment moves. He became the world's most successful investor through consistent, patient compound growth. 99% of his wealth was earned after age 50, and 97% after age 65. His secret wasn't finding the perfect stock, it was staying invested consistently over decades. Jerry Seinfeld's comedy compound. Jerry Seinfeld didn't become a comedy legend overnight. He became successful through what he calls "don't break the chain," writing jokes every single day and marking an X on his calendar. Some days produced gold, others produced mediocre material, but the compound effect of daily writing created a comedy empire worth hundreds of millions. The compound effect of relationships. Even relationships follow compound principles. Couples who invest small amounts of daily attention, asking about each other's day, expressing appreciation, sharing small affections, build tremendously strong bonds over time. Meanwhile, couples who ignore daily maintenance but attempt grand gestures during crises often struggle with long-term satisfaction. Your compound advantage. Here's your competitive advantage. While others chase dramatic changes and quick results, you'll embrace the mathematics of gradual improvement. While they burn out in the valley of disappointment, you'll persist through the plateau, knowing that breakthrough results are building beneath the surface. Every 1% improvement you make is an investment in your future self. Every day you choose consistency over intensity, you're earning compound interest that others can't match. Every small action you take while others wait for the perfect moment moves you closer to extraordinary results. Start today. Improve by just 1%. Trust the process. The compound effect of atomic habits will create changes so remarkable that people will assume you discovered some secret formula for success. Your secret will be understanding what they don't. Small improvements, compounded over time, create the most powerful transformations possible. Your future self is counting on the choices you make today. Choose compound growth. Choose 1% better. Choose the atomic path to extraordinary results. Chapter 3. Identity first. Who before what? You've been approaching change backwards. Your entire life. Every January, you set goals about what you want to achieve or what behaviors you want to change. Lose 20 pounds, run a marathon, write a book, start a business, read 50 books, save $10,000. 6 weeks later, you're back to your old patterns, feeling like a failure. You blame lack of willpower, bad timing, or insufficient motivation. But the real problem runs deeper. You're trying to change your actions without changing your identity. Here's what no one tells you about lasting transformation. Behavior change isn't about what you do, it's about who you become. When your habits align with your identity, change becomes effortless. When they don't, every action feels like swimming upstream. In this chapter, we'll revolutionize how you think about change by starting with identity instead of outcomes. You'll discover why most people fail at habit formation, how to identify the person you need to become, and the powerful process of letting your actions reshape your identity. The 3 layers of change. Imagine change as 3 concentric circles, like layers of an onion. The outermost layer contains your outcomes, the results you want to achieve. The middle layer holds your processes, the systems and habits that lead to those outcomes. The innermost core shares your identity, your beliefs about yourself and others. Most people work from the outside in. They focus on outcomes first. I want to lose weight. Then they might consider processes. I should eat less and exercise more. But they rarely examine identity. Am I the type of person who prioritizes health? This approach explains why New Year's resolutions fail. You're trying to change your outcomes and processes while leaving your identity unchanged. But your identity is the foundation that either supports or undermines every habit you attempt. The identity behavior loop. Your beliefs about yourself create a powerful feedback loop. With your behaviors, your identity influences your actions, and your actions reinforce your identity. Most people don't realize they're trapped in identity behavior loops that keep them stuck. Consider someone who says, "I'm not a morning person." This identity belief influences their behavior. They don't set early alarms. They stay up late. They schedule important activities for later in the day. These behaviors then reinforce the identity. See, I really am not a morning person. The loop continues, making the identity feel permanent and unchangeable. But here's the breakthrough insight. You can reverse this loop. Instead of letting your identity dictate your behavior, you can let your behavior shape your identity. Every action you take is a vote for the type of person you want to become. The power of identity-based habits. Research from the University of Pennsylvania shows that people who focus on identity change are significantly more likely to maintain new behaviors than those who focus on outcome change. When participants were asked to stop eating junk food, those who said, "I don't eat junk food," identity-based, were far more successful than those who said, "I'm trying to eat healthier," outcome-based. The difference lies in internal versus external motivation. Outcome-based habits rely on external rewards or punishments. Identity-based habits are powered by internal satisfaction, the pleasure of acting in alignment with who you believe yourself to be. When someone offers you a cigarette and you respond, "No thanks, I don't smoke," you're not just declining the cigarette, you're reinforcing your identity as a non-smoker. This makes the next refusal easier and more automatic. The two-step process of identity change. Changing your identity isn't about positive thinking or affirmations. It's about proof, proving to yourself through small wins that you are who you want to become. Step 1. Decide who you want to be. Start with your desired outcome, then work backwards to identity. Want to lose weight? The identity: I am someone who takes care of my body. Want to write a book? The identity: I am a writer. Want to build a successful business? The identity: I am an entrepreneur who creates value for others. Your identity should be simple, clear, and focused on the type of person who would naturally achieve your desired outcomes. Step 2. Prove it to yourself through small wins. Every habit is an opportunity to embody your desired identity. You don't need to wait until you've achieved major results to consider yourself a writer, athlete, or leader. You become these things through repeated acts that align with these identities. Write 1 paragraph, and you have evidence that you're a writer. Do 5 push-ups, and you have evidence that you're someone who exercises. Make 1 sales call, and you have evidence that you're building a business. 3 strategies for identity-based change. Strategy 1. The Identity Statement Framework. Create clear identity statements using this format. I am the type of person who fill in the blank with behaviors that align with your desired outcomes. Check. I am the type of person who doesn't miss workouts. I am the type of person who keeps their word. I am the type of person who invests in their education. These statements serve as decision-making filters. When faced with choices, ask yourself, what would the type of person I want to become do in this situation? Strategy 2. The Evidence Collection System. Keep a simple tally of actions that support your desired identity. Each time you act in alignment with who you want to become, record it as evidence. Meditating for 2 minutes? Evidence that you're someone who prioritizes mental health. Reading 2 pages? Evidence that you're a learner. Saving $5? Evidence that you're financially responsible. This isn't about perfection. It's about accumulating proof that you are becoming the person you want to be. Even small actions count as evidence. Strategy 3. The Identity Question. Before making decisions, ask yourself, what would someone who had achieved my goal do in this situation? Then act accordingly. This mental model helps you think and act like the person you're becoming, rather than the person you've been. If your goal is to become financially independent, ask, what would someone who is financially responsible do with this money? The answer guides better decisions and reinforces your evolving identity. Real-world identity transformations, from smoker to non-smoker. David smoked a pack a day for 15 years. Previous quit attempts focused on the health benefits of not smoking or the money he'd save. All outcome-based motivations. They worked temporarily, but never stuck. His successful attempt started with identity. I am a non-smoker. Instead of trying to quit smoking, he focused on becoming someone who doesn't smoke. When offered cigarettes, he didn't say, I'm trying to quit. He said, I don't smoke. When stressed, instead of reaching for cigarettes, he asked, what would a non-smoker do right now? This identity-based approach worked because David was acting as a non-smoker, not as a smoker trying to quit. The behavior flowed naturally from the identity. From procrastinator to productive professional, Lisa had struggled with procrastination her entire career. She tried time management systems, productivity apps, and accountability partners, all focused on changing her behaviors and outcomes. Nothing created lasting change. The breakthrough came when she shifted to identity. I am someone who follows through on commitments. She started with tighter commitments, responding to emails within 24 hours, arriving 5 minutes early to meetings, completing one small task before checking social media. Each small win provided evidence for her new identity. Within months, her reputation at work transformed. Colleagues began seeing her as reliable and proactive. More importantly, she began seeing herself this way too. The identity ripple effect. Identity change creates ripple effects throughout your life. When you see yourself as healthy, you naturally make better food choices, prioritize sleep, and find time for exercise. When you see yourself as a learner, you seek out challenges, ask more questions, and invest in your education. When you see yourself as a leader, you take initiative, support others, and accept responsibility. These behaviors reinforce the identity, which leads to more aligned behaviors, creating an upward spiral of positive change. Common identity change mistakes. Mistake 1. Choosing too many identities at once. Focus on one primary identity change at a time. Trying to simultaneously become athlete, entrepreneur, artist, and master chef will scatter your efforts and dilute your evidence collection. Mistake 2. Waiting for permission. You don't need to achieve major results before claiming an identity. You become a writer by writing, not by publishing a bestseller. You become an athlete by training, not by winning competitions. Start embodying the identity immediately. Mistake 3. All or nothing. Thinking having bad days doesn't invalidate your identity. If you eat junk food one day, you're not suddenly not someone who eats healthy. Identity is about the overall pattern of evidence you're collecting, not perfect consistency. Your identity evolution. Every moment offers an opportunity to reinforce the identity you want or the identity you're trying to leave behind. The person who hits the snooze button is becoming someone who doesn't follow through. The person who gets up when the alarm sounds is becoming someone who keeps commitments to themselves. You have been voting for your current identity your entire life. The good news: you can start voting for a new identity right now. Every action is a ballot cast for who you want to become. Stop trying to change what you do before changing who you are. Your habits will never stick if they conflict with your identity. But when you start with identity, when you prove to yourself through small wins that you are becoming the person you want to be, lasting change becomes inevitable. Who do you want to become? Start being that person today, one small action at a time. Your future identity is built through the choices you make right now. Chapter 4. The Habit Loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. You check your phone 2,600 times per day without thinking about it. You brush your teeth before bed automatically. You reach for coffee when you feel tired. You scroll social media when you're bored. These behaviors happen so naturally. They feel like instinct. But they're not. They're habits, operating through a neurological loop your brain has mastered. Every habit you have, good or bad, follows the same 4-step pattern. Understanding this pattern is like having the source code to human behavior. Once you see how habits really work, you can engineer good ones and dismantle bad ones with precision. Most people try to change habits through willpower and motivation. Approaches doomed to fail because they ignore how habits actually function in your brain. But when you understand the habit loop, you can work with your brain's natural tendencies instead of against them. In this chapter, we'll decode the 4 stages of habit formation, explore how your brain automates behaviors, and give you the tools to intentionally design habit loops that serve your goals. The neuroscience of automatic behavior. Your brain is an efficiency machine. It's constantly looking for ways to reduce the energy required for daily activities. When you repeat a behavior in the same context multiple times, your brain begins to automate the process, freeing up mental energy for other tasks. Neuroscientists at MIT discovered that when habits form, brain activity decreases. The parts of your brain responsible for decision-making become less active, while the basal ganglia, your brain's automation center, takes control. This is why you can drive familiar routes while having conversations or brush your teeth while planning your day. This automation process is incredibly powerful, but it's also indiscriminate. Your brain will automate any behavior that's repeated consistently, regardless of whether it's beneficial or harmful. The same neurological process that helps you automatically buckle your seatbelt also makes you automatically reach for your phone when you feel anxious. The 4 stages of the habit loop. Every habit follows a neurological loop consisting of 4 elements: cue, craving, response, and reward. Understanding each stage gives you the power to build better habits and break destructive ones. Stage 1. Cue, the trigger. The cue is the trigger that initiates the behavior. It's a piece of information from your environment that predicts a reward is available. Cues can be visual, seeing your phone; auditory, hearing a notification; temporal, time of day; emotional, feeling stressed; or social, being around certain people. Your brain is constantly scanning your environment for cues that have previously led to rewards. When it detects a familiar cue, it triggers a craving for the associated reward. Stage 2. Craving, the motivation. Cravings are the motivational force behind every habit. You don't crave the habit itself. You crave the feeling the habit delivers. You don't want the cigarette. You want the relief from stress. You don't want to check your phone. You want to feel connected and informed. You don't want to eat junk food. You want the comfort it provides. Cravings are highly personal and contextual. The sound of slots machines creates intense cravings for gambling addicts, but might be merely annoying to others. The sight of a donut might trigger powerful cravings in someone trying to lose weight, but barely register with someone who doesn't enjoy sweets. Stage 3. Response. The behavior. The response is the actual habit you perform. Whether the response occurs depends on 2 factors: how motivated you are and how able you are to perform the behavior. If the behavior requires more motivation than you have or more ability than you possess, it won't happen. This explains why some habits stick while others don't. Habits that are easy to perform are more likely to become automatic. Habits that are difficult or require significant effort will only be performed when motivation is exceptionally high. Stage 4. Reward. The payoff. Rewards are the end goal of every habit. They satisfy your craving and teach your brain which behaviors to remember for the future. Rewards provide 2 benefits. They satisfy your immediate craving and they teach your brain to repeat the behavior. The most effective rewards are those that align with your identity and values. When you go for a run, the immediate reward might be the endorphin rush, but the deeper reward is the reinforcement of your identity as someone who prioritizes health. How habits become automatic. The habit loop becomes automatic through repetition in consistent contexts. Each time you complete the loop, cue, craving, response, reward, you strengthen the neural pathway. Eventually, the cue alone is enough to trigger the entire sequence without conscious thought. This is why context is so important for habit formation. Habits are context dependent. You might be a healthy eater at home but struggle with food choices at work. You might exercise consistently during the week, but skip workouts on weekends. Different environments trigger different habit loops. 3 strategies for engineering effective habit loops. Strategy 1. Cue stacking link. New habits to existing cues that already trigger automatic behaviors. Since you already brush your teeth every morning, you can stack a new habit immediately after. After I brush my teeth, I will write in my gratitude journal for 2 minutes. This leverages the power of existing neural pathways. Instead of creating entirely new cues, you're adding to sequences that are already automated. Strategy 2. Temptation bundling. Combine a habit you need to do with a habit you want to do. Only allow yourself to watch Netflix while exercising on the treadmill. Only allow yourself to get coffee from your favorite cafe after completing your morning writing session. Only allow yourself to check social media after finishing a work task. This creates powerful cravings for necessary behaviors by pairing them with inherently enjoyable activities. Strategy 3. Immediate reward design. Most good habits have delayed rewards, while most bad habits have immediate rewards. Exercise feels difficult now, but provides health benefits later. Eating junk food tastes good now, but creates health problems later. To overcome this challenge, add immediate rewards to good habits. After completing a workout, enjoy a relaxing shower. After finishing a work project, Treat yourself to a favorite healthy snack. After practicing a skill, check off a visual tracker. Real-world habit loop examples. The first, checking loop cue. You feel bored or anxious? Craving, you want entertainment or connection? Response, you check your phone and scroll social media. Reward, you receive interesting information or social validation. This loop becomes so automatic that you check your phone without realizing why. The cue, boredom, anxiety, immediately triggers the response, phone checking, without conscious decision-making. The exercise loop cue. You see your workout clothes laid out. Craving, you want to feel energized and accomplished. Response, you exercise for 30 minutes. Reward, you feel proud and energized by placing workout clothes in a visible location. You create a visual cue that triggers the desire to exercise. The immediate reward, feeling accomplished, reinforces the behavior, making it more likely to breaking bad habit loops. To break a bad habit, you need to identify which stage of the loop to disrupt. Eliminate the cue. Remove tempting objects from your environment. Delete social media apps from your phone. Keep junk food out of your house. Avoid routes that pass by the tobacco shop. Redirect the craving. When you feel the craving, channel it toward a better behavior. When you crave the distraction of social media, redirect that energy toward reading a book. When you crave the comfort of junk food, redirect toward calling a friend. Make the response difficult. Increase the friction required to perform bad habits. Put your phone in another room. Cancel streaming subscriptions. Remove credit cards from online shopping accounts. Remove the reward. Find healthier ways to address the underlying need. If you overeat when stressed, find other stress relief methods like exercise or meditation. If you shop when bored, find other forms of entertainment. Building good habit loops. To build a good habit, optimize each stage of the loop. Make cues obvious. Place visual reminders in your environment. Put books on your pillow to encourage reading. Place a water bottle on your desk to encourage hydration. Set phone reminders for important habits. Make cravings attractive. Focus on the benefits the habit provides. Instead of thinking I have to exercise, think I get to build strength and energy. Instead of I have to save money, think I get to build financial freedom. Make responses easy. Reduce the friction required to perform good habits. Prepare healthy meals in advance. Lay out workout clothes the night before. Keep books in every room to make reading convenient. Make rewards satisfying. Celebrate small wins immediately. Track your progress visually. Share your successes with supportive people. Create small treats that reinforce positive behaviors. Your habit design toolkit. Understanding the habit loop gives you unprecedented power to shape your behavior. You're no longer at the mercy of unconscious patterns. You're the architect of your own habits. Start by examining your current habits through the lens of cue, craving, response, and reward. What triggers your good habits? What triggers your bad ones? What rewards are you seeking through various behaviors? How can you design better loops? Remember, habits are not about having enough willpower. They're about designing systems that make good behaviors automatic and bad behaviors difficult. When you align your environment and rewards with your goals, lasting change becomes inevitable. Your brain wants to automate behaviors to save energy. Give it better behaviors to automate. Design habit loops that serve your future self, and watch as positive actions become as automatic as breathing. Chapter 5. Make it obvious. Design triggers that work. You walk into your kitchen after a long day, and your eyes immediately land on the bag of chips sitting on the counter. Without conscious thought, you grab a handful. Later, you wonder why you can't stick to healthy eating habits, blaming your lack of willpower. But the real culprit wasn't your willpower. It was your environment. Your environment is constantly cueing behaviors, most of which happen below the level of conscious awareness. The book on your nightstand cues reading. The guitar in the corner cues playing music. The running shoes by the door cue exercise. The problem is, most people design their environments accidentally, then wonder why they can't maintain good habits. Here's what conventional wisdom gets wrong. It assumes you'll remember to do good habits through sheer determination, but your brain is designed to conserve energy by automating decisions. When good behaviors aren't obvious in your environment, your brain defaults to the path of least resistance, which is usually the path of least benefit. In this chapter, we'll explore how to make good habits impossible to ignore and bad habits invisible. You'll learn why environment design trumps willpower every time, and discover practical strategies for engineering spaces that automatically cue the behaviors you want. The power of environmental design. Research from Duke University found that 45% of our daily actions aren't decisions at all. They're habits triggered by environmental cues. Your surroundings are constantly influencing your behavior, whether you realize it or not. Consider how grocery stores use this principle. They place candy at eye level, near checkout lines, position fresh produce at the entrance to create health halos, and use specific lighting and music to influence purchasing decisions. Every element is designed to cue specific behaviors. You can apply these same principles to your own life. Instead of fighting your environment, you can design it to work for you. The visibility principle. The most powerful cue for any habit is visibility. Humans are visual creatures. We respond more strongly to what we can see than to what we remember or imagine. This is why the first law of behavior change is, make it obvious. When good habits are visible, they become automatic. When they're hidden, they're forgotten. The difference between people who maintain good habits and those who don't often comes down to environmental design, not personal discipline. 3 strategies for making good habits obvious. Strategy 1. Implementation intentions. Instead of saying, I will exercise more, create specific implementation intentions. I will exercise for 30 minutes at 6 a.m. in my living room every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. This formula, I will behavior at time, in location, makes habits obvious by clearly defining when and where they'll occur. Vague intentions rely on motivation and memory. Specific intentions create automatic triggers. Research shows that people who use implementation intentions are 2 to 3 times more likely to follow through on their goals. The specificity eliminates decision-making and reduces the mental energy required to start. Strategy 2. Environment design. Redesign your physical environment to make good cues visible and bad cues invisible. For reading habits, place books throughout your home. Put a book on your pillow, another by your coffee maker, and one in your car. Remove distracting items from reading areas. For exercise habits, lay out workout clothes the night before. Keep resistance bands visible in your living room. Place your running shoes by the front door. For healthy eating, keep fruits and vegetables at eye level in your refrigerator. Place healthy snacks in prominent locations. Store junk food in hard-to-reach places or eliminate it entirely. For learning habits, keep notebooks and pens in every room. Display educational books prominently. Set up dedicated spaces for focused work. Strategy 3. Habit stacking. Link new habits to existing ones using this formula. After I current habit, I will new habit. This leverages the power of established routines to trigger new behaviors. Examples. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 3 things I'm grateful for. After I sit down for lunch, I will read 1 page of a book. After I close my laptop for work, I will do 10 push-ups. After I get into bed, I will read for 10 minutes. The key is choosing current habits that are already strong and automatic. The more established the existing habit, the more powerful the stack becomes. Real-world environment design success stories. The author's writing environment. James Clear, author of the original Atomic Habits, struggled to write consistently until he redesigned his environment. He removed his TV from the living room and placed his laptop and notebook in its place. This simple change made writing the most obvious activity when he entered the room. He also used habit stacking. After I sit down with my morning coffee, I will write for at least 2 minutes. This combination of environment design and habit stacking led to consistent daily writing, ultimately producing his best-selling book. The executive's health transformation. Sarah, a busy executive, couldn't maintain exercise habits despite multiple gym memberships and expensive equipment purchases. The breakthrough came when she made exercise obvious in her existing routine. She placed workout clothes on her bathroom counter every night, directly next to her toothbrush. After brushing her teeth each morning, she would see the clothes and automatically put them on. This visual cue, combined with the existing habit of oral hygiene, made exercise feel automatic rather than optional. Within 3 months, morning exercise became as natural as brushing her teeth. The digital environment. Your digital environment is just as important as your physical one. Most people accidentally design digital environments that cue bad habits while making good habits invisible. Optimizing your phone environment. Move social media apps off your home screen or delete them entirely. Place educational apps like Kindle, language learning apps, or meditation apps in prominent positions. Use your phone's Do Not Disturb features to reduce distracting notifications. Create shortcuts to websites that support your goals, online courses, productivity tools, etc. Optimizing your computer environment with your goals, and remove bookmarks that don't. Use browser extensions that block distracting websites during work hours. Organize your desktop to make important documents and applications easily accessible. Set up your email to send you reminders about important habits. Context-dependent nature of habits. Habits are highly context-dependent. You might eat healthy at home but struggle at work. You might exercise consistently during the week, but skip weekends. Different environments trigger different behaviors. This is why it's crucial to design multiple environments to support your desired habits. If you want to read more, don't just put books in your bedroom. Place them in your kitchen, car, office, and living room too. Making bad habits invisible. Just as important as making good habits obvious is making bad habits invisible. Remove cues that trigger behaviors you want to avoid. Keep junk food out of sight and reach. Remove gaming consoles from living areas if you want to reduce screen time. Delete social media apps if they're consuming too much attention. Keep credit cards in inconvenient locations to reduce impulse purchases. Remove ashtrays and lighters if you're trying to quit smoking. The pointing and calling method. Japanese railway workers use a safety technique called pointing and calling, where they physically point at important signals and verbally confirm what they see. This practice reduces errors by up to 85% because it makes automatic behaviors conscious. You can apply this technique to habit formation. When you encounter habit cues, verbally acknowledge them. I see my running shoes by the door, which means it's time to exercise. This makes unconscious environmental triggers conscious, increasing the likelihood you'll follow through. Designing habit-friendly spaces. The reading corner. Create a dedicated space that cues reading behavior. Choose a comfortable chair with good lighting. Eliminate distractions like TV or computer screens. Keep books within arm's reach, and make this space solely for reading. When you sit in this chair, reading becomes the obvious activity. The exercise zone. Designate a specific area for physical activity, even if it's just a corner of your living room. Keep exercise equipment visible. Lay out workout clothes in this space. Remove distracting items, and make sure the area is well lit and inviting. The learning laboratory. Set up a space that cues educational activities. Keep notebooks, pens, and educational materials easily accessible. Ensure good lighting and comfortable seating. Eliminate distracting items, and make this space feel special and important. Common environment design mistakes. Mistake 1. Trying to remember instead of redesigning, relying on memory and willpower instead of environmental cues. So your environment should make good habits obvious without requiring conscious thought. Mistake 2. Underestimating visual cues, placing important items out of sight. If you can't see it, you won't do it. Make beneficial cues as visible as possible. Mistake 3. Ignoring digital environments, focusing only on physical spaces while neglecting digital ones. Your phone, computer, and online environments are just as important as your home and office. Mistake 4. All or nothing design. Trying to redesign everything at once instead of making small strategic changes. Start with the important environments and gradually experiment. Orientert. Take a moment to assess your current environments through the lens of habit formation. What behaviors do your physical spaces currently cue? Are the items you see daily aligned with your goals? How could you make good habits more obvious in each room? What bad habit cues could you remove or hide? Does your digital environment support or sabotage your goals? Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your environment. When your surroundings make good habits obvious and bad habits invisible, positive change becomes automatic. Design your environment like your future depends on it, because it does. Every visual cue in your space is either moving you toward or away from the person you want to become. Make the choice obvious. Kings Chapter 6. Make it attractive. Wire your brain for repetition. You know you should exercise, but you'd rather watch Netflix. You know you should eat vegetables, but you crave pizza. You know you should work on important projects, but you find yourself scrolling social media. The problem isn't that you don't understand what's good for you. The problem is that good habits often feel boring while bad habits feel irresistible. This is the cruel irony of modern life. The behaviors that are best for us in the long run often provide little immediate pleasure, while the behaviors that harm us long-term feel incredibly rewarding right now. Your brain evolved to prioritize immediate rewards over delayed benefits, which served our ancestors well, but works against us in today's world of infinite temptation. But here's what most people don't realize. You can hack your brain's reward system to make good habits feel as attractive as bad ones. When you understand the science of craving and learn to apply temptation bundling, habit stacking, and social reinforcement, healthy behaviors become genuinely exciting rather than obligatory. In this chapter, we'll explore how to make good habits irresistible by working with your brain's natural tendencies instead of against them. The neuroscience of wanting your brain doesn't actually crave habits themselves. It craves the feelings that habits promise to deliver. You don't want the cigarette, you want the stress relief. You don't want the social media scroll, you want the connection and entertainment. You don't want the junk food, you want the comfort and satisfaction. Neuroscientist Dr. Anna Lembke discovered that our brains release dopamine, not when we receive rewards but when we anticipate them. This is why the moment before you bite into your favorite dessert often feels better than actually eating it. The anticipation creates more pleasure than the consumption. This anticipation system can work for you or against you. When you dread exercising, your brain releases stress hormones that make the activity feel punishing. But when you genuinely look forward to exercise, your brain releases dopamine that makes the activity feel rewarding before you even start. The attraction gap. Most good habits suffer from what I call the attraction gap. The difference between how rewarding they are in reality versus how rewarding they feel in anticipation. Exercise provides incredible long-term benefits, but it often feels difficult and uncomfortable in anticipation. Eating healthy foods nourishes your body, but it often feels less exciting than junk food. Meanwhile, bad habits excel at closing this gap. Social media, junk food, and other instantly gratifying behaviors promise immediate pleasure and usually deliver. Your brain learns to crave these activities because the anticipation matches the reward. To build lasting good habits, you need to close the attraction gap by making healthy behaviors feel as appealing as unhealthy ones. 3 strategies for making habits attractive. Strategy 1. Temptation bundling. Temptation bundling links behaviors you need to do with behaviors you want to do. The formula is simple. After I habit I need, I will habit I want. You can also flip it. Only after I habit I want, will I habit I need. Examples: check social media. Only after I eat a healthy breakfast will I read the news. Only after I practice guitar for 20 minutes will I play video games. This strategy works because it allows you to enjoy tempting activities guilt-free while ensuring important habits get done first. Over time, your brain begins to associate the needed habit with the wanted activity, making both more attractive. Strategy 2. Environment-based attraction. Your environment doesn't just cue behaviors, it also influences how attractive those behaviors feel. Bright, clean, organized spaces make activities feel more appealing. Dark, cluttered, disorganized spaces make activities feel less attractive. Make good habits more attractive by optimizing the environments where you'll perform them. For exercise, create an inviting workout space with good lighting, motivating music playlist ready to play, clean equipment, and inspirational visuals. For reading, design a cozy reading nook with comfortable seating, soft lighting, a warm blanket, and your favorite beverage nearby. For healthy eating, make nutritious foods more visually appealing through colorful presentations, attractive serving dishes, and pleasant dining environments. For work, create an inspiring workspace with natural light, plants, organized supplies, and minimal distractions. Strategy 3. Social reinforcement. Humans are social creatures. We naturally want to belong, to fit in, and to earn the respect and admiration of others. You can leverage this drive by surrounding yourself with people who have the habits you want. Join groups where your desired behavior is normal. To want to exercise more, join fitness classes or running groups. Want to eat healthier? Join cooking classes or nutrition-focused communities? Want to read more? Join book clubs or online reading communities. Want to build a business? Join entrepreneur meetups or online communities. When you're surrounded by people who regularly perform the behaviors you want to adopt, those behaviors start feeling normal, attractive, and socially rewarded, rather than difficult and unusual. Real-world attraction success stories. The busy parent's exercise solution. Maria, a working mother of two, struggled to maintain exercise habits because workouts felt like one more obligation on her endless to-do list. The breakthrough came when she bundled exercise with her favorite guilty pleasure, reality TV shows. She created a rule: she could only watch her favorite shows while walking on the treadmill. Suddenly, exercise became something she looked forward to rather than dreaded. She caught up on entertainment while improving her health, and both activities became more enjoyable. The student study transformation. David hated studying for his medical school exams until he applied social reinforcement principles. Instead of studying alone in his apartment, he joined study groups at the library and found online communities of medical students sharing their progress. Being around other serious students made studying feel normal and even competitive in a positive way. Sharing his progress online provided social recognition for his efforts. Study sessions became social events he looked forward to rather than solitary struggles he avoided. The reframing technique. How you think about habits dramatically influences how attractive they feel. Instead of focusing on what habits take away, focus on what they provide. Instead of emphasizing the costs, emphasize the benefits. Negative framing versus positive reframing. Take a "I have to exercise" becomes "I get to build strength and energy." "I can't eat junk food" becomes "I choose to nourish my body." "I must wake up early" becomes "I have quiet morning time for myself." "I should save money" becomes "I'm building financial freedom." This isn't just positive thinking, it's strategic reframing. When you focus on the benefits habits provide rather than the sacrifices they require, your brain begins to crave them. The ritual factor. Rituals make habits more attractive by adding ceremony and significance to routine activities. Instead of just exercising, create an exercise ritual. Instead of just reading, create a reading ritual. Effective rituals might include days saying special music or playlists that you only play during the activity, specific clothing that you only wear for that purpose, preparatory activities that build anticipation, environmental elements that make the experience special. The pre-habit ritual example. Before writing, best-selling author John Grisham follows the same ritual every morning. He makes coffee in his favorite mug, sits in his designated writing chair, arranges his desk exactly how he likes it, and plays the same classical music playlist. This ritual creates anticipation and signals to his brain that something important and enjoyable is about to happen. Making delayed gratification attractive. Good habits often provide delayed benefits, while bad habits provide immediate gratification. To make delayed gratification more attractive, you need to make the benefits feel more immediate and tangible. Visualization techniques. Spend time vividly imagining the long-term benefits of your habits. Don't just think about losing weight. Visualize how you'll feel wearing clothes you love, playing with your children with endless energy, and feeling confident in your own skin. Don't just think about building a business. Visualize the freedom of being your own boss, the satisfaction of creating something valuable, and the financial security of multiple income streams. The more vivid and emotionally compelling you make these future benefits, the more attractive current habits become. Progress tracking as attraction. Visible progress makes habits more attractive by providing immediate evidence of improvement. Use tracking methods that make progress obvious, satisfying. Teo. Visual habit trackers that you mark each day. Progress photos that show gradual changes over time. Measurement logs that demonstrate incremental improvements. Skill assessments that highlight developing capabilities. When you can see evidence that your habits are working, continuing them becomes increasingly attractive. Common attraction mistakes. Mistake 1. Focusing only on long-term benefits. Long-term benefits motivate you to start habits, but immediate attractions keep you going. Make sure good habits provide some immediate satisfaction. Mistake 2. Ignoring social factors. Trying to build habits in isolation rather than leveraging social reinforcement. Humans are wired for community. Use this to your advantage. Mistake 3. Creating boring rituals. Making habit performance feel like drudgery rather than celebration. Add elements that make the experience genuinely enjoyable. Mistake 4. All sacrifice. No pleasure focusing entirely on what habits require you to give up rather than what they help you gain. Reframe habits as gains, not losses. Your attraction design process. For each habit you want to build, ask yourself, Papo, how can I make this immediately more rewarding? What can I bundle this with that I already enjoy? How can I make the environment more inviting? Who can I surround myself with who already does this behavior? How can I reframe this activity to focus on benefits rather than costs? Remember, you don't have to choose between what's good for you and what feels good. When you make healthy habits attractive, you can have both. Your future self will thank you for making positive change feel positive. The most successful people aren't those with the most willpower, they're those who design their lives so that good habits feel irresistible. Make it attractive, and lasting change becomes inevitable. Chapter 7. Make it easy. Simplicity wins every time. You've planned a perfect morning routine. Wake up at 5 a.m., meditate for 20 minutes, exercise for an hour, cook a healthy breakfast, read for 30 minutes, and journal before starting work. It sounds transformative, inspiring, and completely doomed to failure. This is the seduction of complexity, the belief that bigger changes lead to bigger results, but the opposite is true. The most successful people don't have the most complex habits, they have the simplest ones. They understand that consistency beats intensity every time, and that the easier a habit is to start, the more likely you are to stick with it. Your brain is wired to conserve energy and avoid unnecessary effort. When you make habits complicated, you're fighting against millions of years of human evolution. When you make habits simple, you're working with your natural tendencies. In this chapter, we'll explore why simplicity is the ultimate sophistication in habit formation, how to reduce friction for good habits, and why starting smaller than you think possible is the key to building lasting change. The energy conservation principle. Your brain consumes about 20% of your body's total energy, despite being only 2% of your body weight. To manage this enormous energy demand, your brain constantly looks for ways to automate decisions and reduce cognitive load. This is why complex habits feel exhausting while simple habits feel effortless. When a habit requires significant mental or physical effort, your brain categorizes it as a threat to energy conservation. You might start with high motivation, but as soon as life gets stressful or you feel tired, your brain will steer you toward easier alternatives. Simple habits, on the other hand, require minimal energy and decision-making. They slip easily into your existing routine without creating cognitive strain. This is why the most lasting changes often start with ridiculously small actions. The 2-minute rule. The most powerful simplification strategy is the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to complete. This isn't about limiting yourself to 2 minutes forever. It's about establishing consistency first, then expanding later. Examples of 2-minute versions: Daco, read before bed, becomes read 1 page before bed. Exercise daily becomes put on workout clothes daily. Eat healthy becomes eat 1 piece of fruit with lunch. Write in journal becomes write 1 sentence in journal. Meditate becomes take 3 deep breaths. The goal isn't to achieve major results in 2 minutes. It's to establish the habit and reinforce the identity. Once you've mastered the 2-minute version, you can gradually expand. 3 strategies for making habits easy. Strategy 1. Reduce friction. Friction is any obstacle that makes habits harder to perform. The more friction a habit has, the less likely you are to do it consistently. Reducing friction is about removing barriers and creating smooth pathways to positive behaviors. For exercise habits, lay out workout clothes the night before, join a gym near your home or work, keep exercise equipment visible and easily accessible, prepare workout playlists, advance SEAL. Choose bodyweight exercises that require no equipment. For healthy eating habits, prep meals and snacks in advance. Keep healthy foods at eye level in your refrigerator, pre-cut vegetables and store them in clear containers. Keep unhealthy foods out of the house entirely. No. Use smaller plates to make portion control automatic. For learning habits, keep books in every room where you spend time. Download educational podcasts. For commute listening, use apps that send daily learning reminders. Join online courses that send lessons automatically. Create dedicated spaces for focused learning. Strategy 2. Increase friction for bad habits. Just as you want to reduce friction for good habits, you want to increase friction for bad habits. Make negative behaviors require more effort, and you'll naturally do them less frequently. For social media addiction, delete apps from your phone and only access via browser. Log out after each use, so you have to re-enter passwords. Keep your phone in another room during work or sleep. Use website blockers during productive hours. Replace social apps with educational ones on your home screen. For overspending, remove stored payment information from shopping websites. Keep credit cards in inconvenient locations. Use cash for discretionary purchases. Install apps that require waiting periods before purchases. Unsubscribe from promotional emails. Catalogs. For unhealthy snacking, keep junk food in hard-to-reach locations. Store unhealthy foods in opaque containers. Don't bring tempting foods into the house. Keep healthy alternatives easily accessible. Brush your teeth after dinner to reduce late-night eating. Strategy 3. Environment preparation. Prepare your environment in advance to make good habits as easy as possible when the time comes to perform them. This eliminates decision-making and reduces the activation energy required to start. The night before strategy. Workout. Prepare healthy breakfast ingredients. Set up your workspace for focused work. Place books and journals where you'll see them. Charge devices and prepare any needed technology. The batch preparation strategy. Worth of healthy snacks. Batch similar tasks to reduce setup time. Create templates and systems for repeated activities. Organize spaces so everything has a designated location. Real-world simplicity success stories. The executive's reading transformation. Michael, a busy CEO, wanted to read more but felt overwhelmed by the idea of reading entire books while managing his demanding schedule. Instead of committing to reading for hours, he applied the 2-minute rule. Read just 1 page during his lunch break. This felt so manageable that he never missed a day. After 2 weeks, reading 1 page felt automatic, so he increased to 2 pages. After a month, he was naturally reading 5 to 10 pages during lunch. Within a year, he had read 24 books, more than in the previous 5 years combined. The key wasn't willpower or time management. It was starting with something so simple, it felt impossible to fail. The parent's exercise evolution. Jessica, a working mother of 3, struggled to find time for exercise amid her chaotic schedule. Instead of attempting hour-long gym sessions, she started with something absurdly simple, putting on workout clothes every morning. That's it. Some days she exercised after changing clothes, but many days she just wore the clothes to work. After 2 weeks, changing into workout clothes felt automatic. She then added 1 push-up, then 5 push-ups, then a 10-minute walk. 6 months later, Jessica had lost 25 pounds and was exercising 5 days per week. But it all started with the simple act of changing clothes each morning. The power of gateway habits. Simple habits often serve as gateways to more complex behaviors. When you establish easy habits, they naturally lead to related activities. The key is choosing gateway habits that align with your larger goals. Gateway habits for different goals. For better health, drinking 1 glass of water upon waking leads to better hydration throughout the day. Taking daily vitamins leads to thinking more about nutrition. Walking for 5 minutes after lunch leads to longer walks and more exercise. For career growth, industry-related material daily leads to continuous learning. Networking with 1 person per week leads to stronger professional relationships. Writing 1 paragraph about daily lessons learned leads to better reflection and growth. For better relationships daily leads to stronger family connections. Per day, complimenting 1 person per day leads to more positive interactions. Listening fully in 1 conversation daily leads to better communication skills. The scaling strategy. Once you've established the easy version of a habit, you can gradually scale up. But the key is scaling slowly, and only after the current level feels automatic. The 1% improvement method. Instead of dramatic increases, grow your habits by approximately 1% each week. If you're walking for 10 minutes, increase to 11 minutes the following week. If you're reading 2 pages, increase to 3 pages. This approach leverages compound growth while maintaining the simplicity that made the habit sustainable in the first place. Common simplicity mistakes. Mistake 1. Starting too big, attempting impressive habits instead of consistent ones. Remember, you can always do more than your minimum, but you can't always do less than your maximum. Mistake 2. Adding complexity too quickly. Scaling up habits before they feel automatic. Master the simple version first, then gradually add complexity. Mistake 3. Perfectionism over consistency. Focusing on perfect execution rather than consistent practice. A simple habit done consistently beats a perfect habit done occasionally. Mistake 4. Ignoring environmental friction. Underestimating how small obstacles can derail habits. Remove every possible barrier to positive behaviors. The minimum viable habit. For each habit you want to build, identify the minimum viable habit, the smallest version that still moves you toward your goal. This should be so easy that you'd feel silly not doing it. Ask yourself, this is the smallest version of this habit that would still be meaningful. How can I make this so easy that I could do it even on my worst days? What would this habit look like if it took less than 2 minutes? What barriers can I remove to make this as effortless as possible? Your simplification action plan. Choose one habit you want to build, reduce it to a 2-minute version, identify and remove all friction points, prepare your environment for success, commit to the simple version for at least 2 weeks. Only increase complexity after the simple version feels automatic. Remember, the goal isn't to stay at the 2-minute level forever. It's to establish consistency first, then build from there. The most powerful changes start with the smallest action. Simplicity isn't about lowering your standards. It's about being strategic with your energy. When you make good habits easy and bad habits hard, positive change becomes inevitable. Start small, stay consistent, and let compound growth handle the rest. Chapter 8. Make it satisfying. Reinforce the win. You completed your workout, ate a healthy breakfast, and spent 20 minutes learning a new skill. By all measures, it was a successful morning. But instead of feeling accomplished, you feel nothing. The behaviors that are supposed to improve your life feel like empty checkboxes on an endless to-do list. This is why most people quit good habits within a few weeks. It's not that they don't understand the long-term benefits. It's that good habits don't feel immediately rewarding. Your brain is wired to repeat behaviors that feel satisfying right now, not behaviors that might benefit you months from now. Bad habits excel at providing immediate satisfaction. Junk food tastes good now. Social media provides instant entertainment. Online shopping delivers immediate gratification. Meanwhile, good habits often feel like work today, with benefits that arrive sometime in the distant future. But here's what successful people understand. You can engineer immediate satisfaction into any habit. When you learn to make good behaviors immediately rewarding, you tap into your brain's natural learning system and make positive change effortless. In this chapter, we'll explore how to create immediate rewards for delayed benefit behaviors, why tracking progress feels so satisfying, and how to design reward systems that reinforce the habits you want without undermining them. The neuroscience of satisfaction. Your brain learns through a simple principle. Behaviors followed by positive experiences are more likely to be repeated, while behaviors followed by negative experiences are less likely to be repeated. This is called operant conditioning, and it governs much of human behavior. The timing of rewards is crucial. Immediate rewards are much more powerful than delayed ones. When you eat a donut, you get immediate pleasure from the taste and texture. When you exercise, the benefits might not appear for weeks or months. Your brain strongly prefers the donut. Neuroscientist Dr. Robert Sapolsky found that dopamine, the brain chemical associated with pleasure and motivation, spikes highest when rewards are immediate and certain. When rewards are delayed or uncertain, dopamine levels drop, making behaviors feel less motivating. This creates a fundamental challenge. Most good habits have delayed rewards, while most bad habits have immediate rewards. To overcome this challenge, you need to artificially add immediate rewards to long-term beneficial behaviors. The cardinal rule of behavior change. The cardinal rule of behavior change states, what is immediately rewarded is repeated, what is immediately punished is avoided. This rule explains why some habits stick while others don't. Habits with immediate positive consequences feel satisfying and get repeated. Habits with immediate negative consequences feel punishing and get avoided. The problem is that the immediate consequences of good habits are often mildly negative. Exercise is tiring. Healthy food is less tasty. Saving money means spending less, while the ultimate outcomes are positive. Meanwhile, bad habits often have immediately positive consequences. Junk food tastes good. Social media is entertaining, while the ultimate outcomes are negative. To build lasting habits, you need to flip this dynamic by adding immediate positive consequences to good behaviors. 3 strategies for making habits satisfying. Strategy 1. Immediate reward addition. Add small, immediate rewards to habits that have delayed benefits. The key is choosing rewards that align with your identity and don't undermine your progress. Examples of effective immediate rewards. Take a rest, after exercising, enjoy a relaxing hot shower, or listen to favorite music. After eating a healthy meal, savor a small piece of high-quality dark chocolate. After completing work tasks, take a short walk outside or call a friend. After reading, enjoy a warm cup of tea in your favorite mug. After saving money, update a visual progress tracker, or celebrate with a small free activity. Guidelines for choosing rewards. The reward should be immediate, aligned with your desired identity, and not counterproductive to your goal. Rewarding exercise with junk food undermines your progress. Rewarding saving money with shopping defeats the purpose. Strategy 2. Progress tracking and visualization. Tracking progress provides immediate satisfaction by making improvement visible and tangible. The act of recording success triggers a small sense of accomplishment that reinforces the behavior. Effective tracking methods. The habit tracker. Create a simple calendar or chart where you mark an X for each day you complete your habit. This provides visual evidence of your consistency and creates a satisfying chain of X's that you won't want to break. The progress journal. Write a brief note about each habit session. How it went, what you learned, how you felt afterward. This reflection makes progress more concrete and meaningful. The measurement log. Track quantifiable improvements. Pounds lifted, pages read, minutes exercised, money saved. Seeing numbers increase provides tangible proof that your efforts are working. The photo documentation. For habits with visual outcomes, fitness, organization, creative projects. Take regular photos to document progress. Visual evidence is incredibly motivating and helps maintain momentum during challenging periods. Strategy 3. Celebration and identity reinforcement. The most powerful immediate reward is identity reinforcement. When you complete a habit, pause for a moment to acknowledge what type of person you're becoming. After completing your workout, tell yourself, I am someone who prioritizes my health. After reading for 20 minutes, I am someone who invests in learning. After organizing your workspace, I am someone who creates order. This internal celebration serves 2 purposes. It provides immediate satisfaction and reinforces your desired identity. Over time, these small moments of self-recognition compound into a stronger sense of who you are. The satisfaction sequence combines all 3 strategies into what I call the satisfaction sequence. Complete the behavior, exercise, read, save money, track the progress, mark your calendar, update your log, add immediate reward, hot shower, favorite tea, relaxing music, reinforce identity. I am becoming healthier, smarter, more disciplined. This sequence creates multiple layers of satisfaction that make good habits feel immediately rewarding, rather than like delayed gratification exercises. Common mistakes in reward systems. Many people sabotage their habits by choosing counterproductive rewards. Avoid these common mistakes. Take a rewarding exercise with junk food, rewarding saving money with shopping, rewarding productivity with time-wasting activities, making rewards too expensive or complicated. Only rewarding major milestones instead of daily progress. Remember, the goal is to make the habit itself more satisfying, not to create a separate reward that undermines your progress. The most successful habit builders learn to find satisfaction in the process itself. They discover the immediate benefits hidden within seemingly delayed gratification activities. The runner learns to enjoy the energy boost after exercise. The reader discovers the immediate sense of learning something new. The saver finds satisfaction in watching their account balance grow. When you make good habits immediately satisfying, you're not just changing your behavior, you're rewiring your brain to crave the activities that improve your life. This is how temporary changes become permanent transformation. Chapter 9. Environment. Willpower. You wake up determined to eat healthy, but there's leftover pizza. The fridge. You plan to exercise, but your workout clothes are buried in the laundry basket. You want to read more, but your phone is on the nightstand while your book is downstairs in another room. By evening, you've eaten the pizza, skipped the workout, and scrolled social media instead of reading. You blame yourself for lacking willpower. But the real culprit isn't your character, it's your environment. Most people try to change their habits through sheer force of will, believing that if they just want something badly enough, they'll find a way to make it happen. This approach fails because it fights against human nature rather than working with it. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. It influences what you do more than your conscious intentions. When good behaviors are convenient and bad behaviors are inconvenient, you'll naturally drift toward better choices without relying on motivation or discipline. The principle of least effort. Humans are naturally lazy. We're biologically wired to conserve energy whenever possible. This isn't a character flaw, it's an evolutionary advantage that helped our ancestors survive when calories were scarce. This tendency toward least effort means people will generally choose the path of least resistance. If healthy food is easier to access than junk food, you'll eat healthier. If exercise equipment is visible and accessible, you'll work out more often. If your phone is in another room, you'll check it less frequently. The most successful people don't have superhuman willpower. They engineer their environments to make good choices easier and bad choices harder. 3 Environment Design Principles. Principle 1. Reduce friction for good habits. Make good habits as convenient as possible. Remove any barriers between you and positive behaviors. Examples. Keiki. Exercise clothes laid out and ready. Prepare healthy snacks in advance and place them at eye level. Keep books in multiple locations throughout your house. Set up your workspace the night before. Keep a water bottle at your desk. Store vitamins next to your toothbrush. The goal is to make good habits so convenient that they require minimal effort to start. Principle 2. Increase friction for bad habits. Make bad habits inconvenient and harder to access. Add steps between you and behaviors you want to avoid. Examples. Take-o. Put junk food in hard-to-reach places, or don't buy it at all. Log out of social media accounts, and remove apps from your phone's home screen. Keep your TV unplugged so you have to plug it in to watch it. Store your credit cards in a drawer rather than in your wallet. Set your phone to charge in another room overnight. Small amounts of friction can dramatically reduce unwanted behaviors. When bad habits require more effort, you're less likely to do them impulsively. Principle 3. Design your space for your best self. Arrange your environment to support the identity you want to build. Your surroundings should reflect and reinforce who you're becoming. If you want to be a reader, fill your space with books. If you want to be healthy, surround yourself with visual reminders of wellness. If you want to be creative, organize your space to inspire and enable creative work. The power of visual cues. Visual cues are incredibly powerful behavior triggers. What you see influences what you do more than what you think about. A study by Dr. Brian Wansink found that people who kept fruit on their kitchen counters weighed an average of 13 pounds less than those who didn't. People who kept soda on their counters weighed an average of 26 pounds more. The simple act of making healthy food visible and unhealthy food invisible influenced eating behaviors without any conscious effort. Use this principle in every area of your life. Keep workout equipment visible. Place books where you'll see them often. Display progress charts or motivational images. Organize healthy foods at eye level in your refrigerator. Keep creative supplies easily accessible. Context is everything. Different environments trigger different behaviors. You probably act differently at home versus at work versus at a party. This isn't inconsistency. It's normal human behavior responding to environmental cues. Create dedicated contexts for your desired habits. Designate a specific chair for reading. Create a workout space, even if it's just a corner of your room. Establish a consistent workspace for important projects. Set up a meditation corner. Create a designated charging station for devices outside the bedroom. When you perform the same habit in the same context repeatedly, the environment itself becomes a trigger for the behavior. The fresh start effect. Moving to a new environment provides an exceptional opportunity to build new habits because you haven't yet formed automatic behaviors in the new space. This is called the fresh start effect. If you're starting new habits, consider rearranging your furniture, finding new workout locations, working from different spaces, changing your morning routine location, reorganizing your kitchen or workspace. Even small environmental changes can disrupt old patterns and make space for new ones. Your willpower is finite, but your environment works 24/7. Instead of battling your surroundings, design them to support your success. When your environment is aligned with your goals, good habits happen naturally, and bad habits become increasingly difficult to maintain. Chapter 10. Break bad habits without breaking yourself. You know exactly which habits are sabotaging your success. The evening social media scrolling, the afternoon vending machine visits, the weekend Netflix binges that stretch into Monday morning. You've tried to quit these behaviors dozens of times, yet they keep creeping back into your life like unwelcome house guests who refuse to leave. Breaking bad habits feels impossible, because most people approach it backwards. They focus on what they want to stop doing rather than what they want to start doing. They rely on willpower rather than strategy. They shame themselves for relapsing, rather than understanding why relapses happen. The truth about bad habits is both liberating and challenging. You can't simply delete them from your brain. Neural pathways once formed remain in your mind forever. However, you can override them, redirect them, and make them irrelevant through strategic replacement. Why bad habits are so sticky. Bad habits persist because they serve a purpose. They provide immediate rewards, stress relief, entertainment, social connection, or escape from discomfort. Every bad habit solves some problem in your life, even if the solution creates bigger problems later. Smoking reduces stress, while creating health problems. Social media provides connection and entertainment, while fragmenting attention. Junk food offers comfort and pleasure, while undermining health. Procrastination avoids immediate discomfort, while creating future overwhelm. Trying to eliminate a bad habit without replacing its function is like trying to remove a load-bearing wall without installing a support beam. The structure will collapse. The 4-step reversal process. Step 1. Identify the real need. Before you can break a bad habit, you must understand what need it's meeting. Ask yourself, Keiko, when do I most often engage in this behavior? How do I feel right before I do it? What does this habit provide for me? What would I lose if I could never do this again? Common underlying needs: takeout, stress relief, and relaxation, social connection and belonging, entertainment and stimulation, comfort and security, sense of control or accomplishment, escape from difficult emotions. Step 2. Find healthier replacement. Once you understand the underlying need, identify healthier behaviors that meet the same need. The replacement habit should provide similar benefits without the negative consequences. Examples: Tadev, instead of social media for connection, to call a friend or family and member instead of junk food for comfort. Take a warm bath or practice deep breathing. Instead of shopping for stress relief, go for a walk or exercise. Instead of procrastination to avoid discomfort, break tasks into smaller steps. The key is finding replacements that are equally convenient and satisfying. Step 3. Make the bad habit inconvenient. While you're building your replacement habit, make the unwanted behavior harder to do. Add friction to create a pause between impulse and action. Strategies: take us to remove triggers from your environment. Add extra steps to access the behavior. Create time delays before you can engage. Change the context where the habit usually occurs. Use commitment devices that create consequences. Step 4. Practice the replacement consistently. When you feel the urge to engage in the old habit, immediately redirect to your replacement behavior. The first few times will feel forced and unnatural. This is normal. You're literally rewiring your brain's automatic responses. Consistency is crucial during the first 30 days. Each time you choose the replacement over the original habit, you strengthen the new neural pathway and weaken the old one. The 2-minute replacement rule. Often, bad habits persist because the replacement behaviors feel too difficult or time-consuming. Combat this by finding 2-minute versions of your replacement habits. Instead of "I'll exercise when I want to eat junk food," which feels overwhelming, try "I'll do 10 jumping jacks" or "I'll walk around the block." The goal isn't to solve all your problems in 2 minutes. It's to redirect your impulse and start building a new pattern. Understanding relapse. Relapse isn't failure, it's data. Every time you engage in an old habit, you learn something about your triggers, your needs, or your replacement strategy. When relapse happens, observe without judgment. What triggered this? What need was I trying to meet? Adjust your strategy. What can I change to prevent this in the future? Restart immediately. Don't wait until tomorrow or next week. The difference between people who successfully break bad habits and those who don't isn't that successful people never relapse. It's that they get back on track faster. The identity shift method. The most powerful way to break bad habits is to change how you see yourself. Instead of saying "I'm trying to quit smoking," say "I'm not a smoker." Instead of "I'm trying to eat less junk food," say "I'm someone who nourishes their body with healthy food." This isn't just positive thinking, it's identity-based change. When your self-image shifts, behaviors that conflict with that identity become increasingly uncomfortable to maintain. Creating incompatible environments. Design your environment so that good habits and bad habits can't coexist. If you want to stop watching TV mindlessly, remove the TV from your bedroom. If you want to stop eating junk food, don't buy it. If you want to reduce phone usage, charge it in another room. When your environment makes bad habits impossible or highly inconvenient, willpower becomes irrelevant. The patience factor. Bad habits didn't develop overnight, and they won't disappear overnight. Neural pathways that took months or years to form need time to weaken. Be patient with the process and focus on progress, not perfection. Research suggests it takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit. But breaking old ones can take longer because you're not just building new pathways, you're competing with established ones. Remember, you're not broken, weak, or lacking willpower. You're human. And you're working against patterns that served a purpose. With the right strategy, patience, and self-compassion, any bad habit can be transformed into a stepping stone toward the person you want to become. Chapter 11. Stacking habits for exponential growth. You brush your teeth, then immediately floss. After you pour your morning coffee, you review your daily priorities. When you sit down at your desk, you spend 2 minutes organizing your workspace. These aren't random acts. They're strategic sequences that leverage your existing routines to build new ones. Most people try to build habits in isolation, treating each new behavior as a separate project, requiring its own motivation and willpower. This scattered approach is exhausting and ineffective. Successful habit builders understand that the most powerful changes happen when new behaviors attach to existing ones, creating chains of positive action that build momentum throughout the day. The science of habit stacking. Habit stacking works because of how your brain processes routine behaviors. Once a behavior becomes automatic, it requires minimal mental energy. Your brain essentially goes into autopilot, following established neural pathways without conscious effort. When you attach a new behavior to an established routine, you're borrowing the automaticity of the existing habit. The first behavior becomes a natural cue for the second, creating a seamless flow that feels effortless once established. Neuroscientist Dr. Anne Graybill discovered that habit behaviors create distinct neural patterns in the brain. When habits are well established, brain activity actually decreases during the behavior, indicating that less mental energy is required. By stacking new habits onto these low-energy routines, you can add positive behaviors without depleting your willpower reserves. The habit stacking formula. The basic formula for habit stacking is simple. After existing habit, I will new habit. Examples. Takeover. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write down 3 things I'm grateful for. After I sit down for dinner, I will share 1 good thing that happened today. After I put on my running shoes, I will text my workout partner. After I close my laptop for the day, I will lay out clothes for tomorrow. After I plug in my phone to charge, I will prepare my vitamins for the next day. The key is choosing existing habits that are already stable and consistent. These become the anchors for your new behaviors. The 4 principles of effective stacking. Principle 1. Stack immediately after, not before. Always attach new habits after existing ones, not before. Your current habits already have established cues and context. When you try to add something before an existing routine, you disrupt the natural flow and create resistance. Instead of before I brush my teeth, I will do stretches. Disrupts morning routine. Try after I brush my teeth, I will do stretches. Builds on established routine. Principle 2. Match context and energy. The new habit should fit naturally with the context and energy level of the existing habit. Trying to stack high-energy activities with low-energy routines creates friction. Good match. After I finish my workout high energy, I will prepare a healthy smoothie. Still high energy. Poor match. After I get into bed, low energy. I will plan tomorrow's workout routine. Requires mental energy. Principle 3. Start small and build. Begin with the smallest possible version of your new habit. The goal is to establish the connection between behaviors, not to achieve perfect execution immediately. Instead of, after I eat lunch, I will exercise for 30 minutes. Start with, after I eat lunch, I will put on my workout clothes. Once the stacking pattern is established, you can expand the new habit. Principle 4. Create logical sequences. The most effective habit stacks follow natural, logical progressions. Each behavior should flow smoothly into the next, creating a cohesive routine rather than a disconnected list. Example of a logical morning stack. Day. After I turn off my alarm, I will drink a full glass of water. After I drink water, I will make my bed. After I make my bed, I will put on workout clothes. After I put on workout clothes, I will do 10 minutes of exercise building habit chains. Once you master basic stacking, you can create longer chains of behaviors that transform entire portions of your day. These chains become powerful routines that maximize your productivity and well-being without requiring constant decisions. The Power Hour Stack. Create a morning chain that sets up your entire day for success. Tehe. After I wake up, I will drink 16 ounces of water. After I drink water, I will write down 3 priorities for the day. After I write priorities, I will exercise for 20 minutes. After I exercise, I will take a cold shower. After I shower, I will eat a healthy breakfast while reviewing my calendar. This stack addresses hydration, planning, fitness, energy, and nutrition in one flowing sequence. The Wind Down Stack. Create an evening routine that improves your sleep and prepares for tomorrow. After I finish dinner, I will clean the kitchen. After I clean the kitchen, I will prepare clothes for tomorrow. After I prepare clothes, I will review what I accomplished today. After I review the day, I will read for 20 minutes. After I read, I will do 5 minutes of deep breathing. Strategic stacking locations. Identify the best anchoring points in your existing routine, moments when you're already in a positive, productive state of mind. Natural transition points. They know. After waking up, high willpower, fresh start. After meals, regular timing, energy available. After arriving at work, transition to productivity mode. After finishing work, transition to personal time. After existing exercise already in health mindset. Before bed, winding down my reflective mood. Common stacking mistakes. Mistake 1, choosing unstable anchors. Don't stack onto habits you only do sometimes or in certain circumstances. Choose behaviors you do daily, without fail. Mistake 2, making stacks too long. Initially start with 2-3 behaviors maximum. You can always add more once the initial stack becomes automatic. Mistake 3, ignoring context clues. Make sure your environment supports the entire stack. If you stack read for 10 minutes after eat breakfast but you eat breakfast in the car, the context doesn't work. The ripple effect. Well-designed habit stacks create positive ripple effects throughout your day. When you start your morning with a powerful routine, you build momentum that influences every subsequent choice. When you end your day with intentional behaviors, you improve your sleep and tomorrow's performance. This is the exponential power of stacking. Small improvements in your routines compound into dramatic life changes. You're not just building individual habits, you're architecting a lifestyle that automatically moves you toward your goals. The most successful people don't rely on motivation to do the right things. They've built systems of stacked habits that make positive behaviors inevitable. When your routines work for you rather than against you, success becomes a natural byproduct of your daily life. Chapter 12, the 2-minute rule. Start tiny, win big. You want to exercise for an hour every day, but you can't even get yourself to put on workout clothes. You plan to read for 30 minutes each evening, but you haven't opened a book in weeks. You resolve to meditate for 20 minutes every morning, but you keep hitting the snooze button instead. The problem isn't your goals, it's your starting point. Most people try to build habits by jumping straight to the advanced version, skipping the foundation entirely. It's like trying to deadlift 300 pounds on your first day at the gym, or attempting to run a marathon when you can barely jog around the block. The 2-minute rule changes everything. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. This isn't about lowering your standards, it's about mastering the art of showing up. Every habit, no matter how complex, can be broken down into a 2-minute starting ritual. The psychology of getting started. The hardest part of any habit isn't the doing, it's the starting. Once you begin, momentum takes over, and continuing becomes easier. Your brain's resistance is highest at the beginning of an activity, and drops significantly once you're in motion. Psychologist Dr. Robert Boyce studied procrastination and discovered that people who struggle to write would often spend hours avoiding their work. But once they actually sat down and began typing, they could write for extended periods. The barrier wasn't ability or time, it was initiation. The 2-minute rule leverages this psychological reality by making initiation so easy that resistance becomes irrelevant. When starting only requires 2 minutes, your brain can't generate compelling excuses to avoid it. The 2-minute transformations. Every habit you want to build has a 2-minute version. Here's how to find it. Original goal. Exercise for 1 hour daily. 2-minute version. Put on workout clothes. Original goal. Read 30 minutes before bed. 2-minute version. Read 1 page. Original goal. Meditate for 20 minutes each morning. 2-minute version. Sit in meditation position and breathe deeply 3 times. Original goal. Write 1,000 words daily. 2-minute version. Write 1 sentence. Original goal. Eat healthy meals. 2-minute version. Eat 1 piece of fruit. Original goal. Learn a new language for 30 minutes daily. 2-minute version. Study 5 vocabulary words. The 2-minute version isn't your final destination. It's your entry point. Once you master the art of starting consistently, you naturally expand the behavior. The 3 phases of 2-minute mastery. Phase 1. Master the start. Weeks 1-2. Focus exclusively on showing up and doing the 2-minute version consistently. Don't worry about duration, intensity, or results. Your only job is to establish the routine of starting. During this phase, you might feel like you're not making progress because you're only doing 2 minutes. This feeling is normal and wrong. You're building the most important skill in habit formation. Consistent initiation. Phase 2. Natural expansion. Weeks 3-4. As the 2-minute version becomes automatic, you'll naturally find yourself doing slightly more. You put on workout clothes and feel like doing a few stretches. You read 1 page and want to read another. You write 1 sentence and ideas for more start flowing. Don't force this expansion, let it happen organically. Some days you'll stick to 2 minutes, other days you'll do more. Both outcomes are wins. Phase 3. Habit optimization. Week 5. Once the habit feels automatic, you can deliberately expand it to your desired level. The foundation is now solid, so building upward becomes natural and sustainable. The 2-minute mindset shifts. Shift 1. From outcome to process. Traditional thinking, need to lose 20 pounds. 2-minute thinking. I need to become someone who exercises consistently. Shift 2. From perfection to consistency. Traditional thinking. I must exercise for a full hour or it doesn't count. 2-minute thinking. Putting on workout clothes every day makes me an exerciser. Shift 3. From future focus to present focus. Traditional thinking. Once I build this habit, I'll achieve my goals. 2-minute thinking. Right now I'm practicing being the type of person I want to become. Advanced 2-minute strategies. The preparation ritual. Sometimes the 2-minute version focuses entirely on preparation rather than the main activity. Do set up meditation space and sit down. Instead of practice guitar for 30 minutes, do take guitar out of case and tune it. Instead of write for an hour, do open laptop and create new document. Preparation rituals work because they eliminate friction for future sessions while establishing the routine of engaging with your desired identity. The gateway habit. Use 2-minute habits as gateways to larger routines. The small habit becomes the entry point that naturally leads to bigger behaviors. 2 minutes of stretching leads to full workouts. Reading 1 page leads to finishing books. Writing 1 sentence leads to completing articles. Organizing 1 drawer leads to decluttering entire spaces. The minimum viable habit. Find smallest version of your habit that still feels meaningful and identity reinforcing. Cakers. 1 push-up still counts as exercising. 1 page read still counts as reading. 1 minute of meditation still counts as mindfulness practice. 1 healthy meal still counts as eating well. The key is maintaining the psychological benefit of identity reinforcement while minimizing the barrier to entry. Common 2-minute mistakes. Mistake 1. Secretly planning to do more. If you think I'll just start with 2 minutes but I'll really do 20, you're undermining the rule. Your brain knows you're planning to do more and will resist accordingly. Mistake 2. Rushing to expand. Don't increase duration until the 2-minute version feels completely automatic. Premature expansion often leads to habit breakdown. Mistake 3. Judging the 2-minute version. Never dismiss the 2-minute version as not enough. Every time you do it, you're casting a vote for your desired identity and building the neural pathways for consistency. The compound effect of starting small. 2-minute habits seem insignificant in the moment, but they compound dramatically over time. Reading 1 page daily becomes 365 pages per year, multiple complete books. 1 push-up daily builds the exercise habit that might become 100 push-ups. 1 sentence daily could become the novel you always wanted to write. More importantly, 2-minute habits prove to yourself that you're the type of person who follows through on commitments. This self-efficacy builds confidence that spills over into every area of your life. The 2-minute rule isn't about being satisfied with less. It's about being strategic about more. When you master the art of starting small, you unlock the ability to achieve things that once seemed impossible. Every expert was once a beginner who learned to show up consistently. 2 minutes at a time. Sir. Chapter 13. How to stay consistent without motivation. It's Monday morning, and you're fired up. This is the week you'll finally stick to your workout routine. Eat healthy every day, and make real progress on that important project. By Wednesday, your enthusiasm has faded. By Friday, you're back to old patterns, promising yourself you'll start fresh next Monday. This cycle repeats, because most people build their habits on the shaky foundation of motivation. Motivation is like the weather, sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy, always changing. When you depend on feeling motivated to do the right things, you guarantee inconsistency. The most successful habit builders have discovered something liberating. You don't need motivation to be consistent. You need systems, strategies, and structures that work regardless of how you feel. When your approach doesn't depend on your mood, willpower, or energy levels, consistency becomes inevitable. The motivation myth. Motivation feels powerful when it's present, which is why so many people rely on it. During motivated moments, anything seems possible. You can envision yourself exercising daily, eating perfectly, and achieving all your goals. The problem is that motivation is temporary and unpredictable. Motivation fluctuates based on taste or sleep quality, stress levels, recent successes or failures, external circumstances, hormonal changes, season and weather, life events and disruptions. Building habits that depend on motivation is like building a house on quicksand. The foundation will inevitably shift, and your structure will collapse. The 4 pillars of motivation: independent consistency. Pillar 1. Environmental design. Your environment influences your behavior more than your intentions. When good behaviors are obvious and convenient while bad behaviors require effort, you'll naturally drift toward better choices regardless of motivation. Create environments that make the right choice the easy choice. For exercise, keep workout clothes visible and easily accessible. Equipment the night before. Choose activities close to home or work, Find routines that require minimal setup for healthy eating, so prepare meals and snacks in advance. Keep healthy options at eye level in your fridge. Remove junk food from easily accessible locations. Make health choices the default option. For learning and growth dayo, keep books, notebooks, or learning materials in multiple locations. Set up dedicated spaces for focused work. Remove distracting items from your workspace. Make educational content more accessible than entertainment. Pillar 2. Implementation intentions. Implementation intentions are if-then plans that predetermine your behavior in specific situations. Instead of relying on in-the-moment motivation, you make decisions in advance when you're thinking clearly. The format is if situation, then I will, behavior. Examples? Pillar like 1. If it's 7 a.m., then I will put on my running shoes and go for a walk. If I finish eating dinner, then I will immediately wash the dishes. If I feel stressed at work, then I will take 5 deep breaths and drink water. If it's Sunday evening, then I will plan my meals for the week. Implementation intentions work because they transfer decision-making from emotional moments to rational planning sessions. When the predetermined situation arises, you follow your plan regardless of how you feel. Pillar 3. Identity-based systems. Instead of focusing on what you want to achieve, focus on who you want to become. Identity-based habits are more sustainable because they're rooted in self-concept rather than external goals. Goal-based approach. I want to lose 20 pounds. Identity-based approach. I am becoming someone who takes care of their health. Goal-based approach. I want to write a book. Identity-based approach. I am becoming a writer. When your habits align with your identity, consistency feels natural rather than forced. You don't need motivation to be yourself. Pillar 4. The minimum viable routine. Establish the smallest possible version of your routine that you can maintain, even on your worst days. This becomes your consistency insurance policy. Your minimum viable routine might be 2 minutes of exercise when you can't do a full workout, reading 1 page when you don't have time for more, writing 1 sentence when creativity isn't flowing, 5 minutes of organizing when you're overwhelmed. The goal isn't to always do the minimum, it's to never do nothing. Minimum viable routines keep you connected to your identity and habits, even during challenging periods. The consistency equation. Consistency equal environmental cues, plus implementation plans, plus identity alignment, times minimum viable options. When all 4 elements are present, consistency becomes the natural outcome regardless of motivation levels. Strategies for motivation-free habits. The scheduling strategy. Treat important habits like non-negotiable appointments. Put them in your calendar with specific times and locations. When something is scheduled, it's more likely to happen regardless of how you feel about it. The batching strategy. Group similar activities together to reduce decision fatigue and create momentum. Instead of making individual decisions about when to exercise, meal prep, or study, designate specific times for these activities and do them all at once. The accountability strategy. Create external accountability that makes consistency easier than inconsistency. This could be workout partners, public commitments, or systems that automatically track your progress. The reward timing strategy. Structure your day so that enjoyable activities naturally follow important habits. Watch your favorite show after exercising. Check social media after completing work tasks. Eat dessert after eating vegetables. The fallback plan strategy. Prepare for obstacles in advance. By creating fallback plans, if the gym is closed, I'll do bodyweight exercises at home. If I don't have time to cook, I'll eat the healthy meal I prepped yesterday. If I can't focus on reading, I'll listen to an audiobook while walking. Handling low motivation periods. Everyone experiences periods of low motivation. The difference between consistent and inconsistent people isn't that consistent people never feel unmotivated. It's that they have strategies for moving forward anyway. During low motivation periods, lower the bar. Do your minimum viable routine. Focus on identity. Remind yourself who you're becoming. Lean on systems. Follow your predetermined plans. Seek environmental support. Use your designed spaces and cues. Remember your why. Connect with your deeper purposes. The motivation paradox. Here's the beautiful irony. When you stop depending on motivation to drive consistency, you actually become more motivated. Success breeds motivation, not the other way around. When you see yourself showing up regardless of how you feel, confidence grows. When habits become automatic, they require less energy, leaving you feeling more capable and motivated to tackle other challenges. Motivation is a wonderful bonus when it's present, but terrible foundation for building lasting change. When you create systems that work without motivation, you develop something far more valuable: the unshakable confidence that comes from knowing you can count on yourself regardless of circumstances. Chapter 14: Systems over Goals. Process creates progress. You set a goal to lose 20 pounds. 6 months later, you've lost 15 pounds, but feel like a failure because you didn't hit your target. Your friend focuses on the system of eating one healthy meal per day and exercising 3 times per week. 6 months later, they've lost 25 pounds and built sustainable habits that will last for years. The difference isn't willpower, genetics, or luck. The difference is their approach. Your friend focused on the process while you focused on the outcome. They built a system while you chased a goal. Goals are important for setting direction, but systems are essential for making progress. Goals tell you where you want to go. Systems get you there. Goals are momentary. Systems are permanent. Goals rely on motivation and willpower. Systems create automatic progress. The problem with goals create several psychological traps that actually hinder long-term success. The arrival fallacy. Goals suggest that happiness and satisfaction arrive when you reach a specific outcome. I'll be happy when I lose 20 pounds. I'll feel successful when I make 6 figures. I'll be fulfilled when I write my book. This thinking postpones satisfaction until some future achievement, making the present moment feel inadequate. The reality is that achieving goals provides only temporary satisfaction. Within days or weeks of reaching a target, you return to your baseline level of happiness and start pursuing the next goal. This is called hedonic adaptation, and it means that goal achievement rarely provides the lasting fulfillment we expect. The yo-yo effect. When your habits are tied to achieving specific outcomes, you tend to stop the behaviors once the goal is reached. People who lose weight through extreme dieting often regain it because they return to their old eating patterns once they hit their target weight. Students who study intensively for exams often stop learning once the test is over. Goals encourage temporary behavior change rather than permanent lifestyle shifts. The all-or-nothing mentality. Goals create a binary mindset. You either succeed or fail. If your goal is to exercise 5 days per week and you only manage 4, you feel like a failure despite making significant progress. This black and white thinking leads to abandonment of good habits over minor setbacks. The restriction of possibilities. When you're fixated on a specific goal, you might miss opportunities that don't align perfectly with your target. A writer focused solely on finishing their novel might ignore valuable freelance opportunities that could improve their skills and income. The power of systems. Systems are the antidote to these goal-related problems. A system is a collection of daily practices and routines that move you in the direction you want to go. Instead of focusing on a specific outcome, you focus on the process that creates outcomes. Goal: lose 20 pounds. System: eat 1 healthy meal per day, walk for 20 minutes daily, and strength train twice per week. Goal: write a best-selling novel. System: write 500 words every morning, read in your genre for 30 minutes daily, and attend 1 writing workshop per month. Goal: build a successful business system, contact 5 potential customers daily, improve 1 business process weekly, and invest in learning new skills monthly. The 4 advantages of systems. Advantage 1. Sustainable progress. Systems create consistent, sustainable progress rather than sporadic bursts of effort. When you focus on showing up daily rather than achieving specific outcomes, progress becomes inevitable. A person with a goal of reading 50 books per year might binge read during certain periods and then stop entirely. A person with a system of reading 20 minutes daily will consistently make progress throughout the year and likely exceed what the goal-focused person achieves. Advantage 2. Intrinsic satisfaction. Systems provide satisfaction from the process itself, rather than from external outcomes. When you enjoy your daily habits, you don't need to wait for results to feel fulfilled. A runner who loves their morning routine feels successful every day they complete it, regardless of race times or weight loss. A writer who enjoys their daily writing practice feels accomplished whether or not they get published. Advantage 3. Adaptability systems are more flexible than goals. When circumstances change, you can adjust your system while maintaining forward momentum. Goals tend to become obsolete when conditions shift. During a busy period at work, your exercise system might shift from gym workouts to home bodyweight exercises. The system adapts, but progress continues. A rigid goal of go to the gym 5 times per week would likely be abandoned entirely. Advantage 4. Identity reinforcement systems naturally reinforce your desired identity through daily actions. Every time you follow your system, you're proving to yourself what kind of person you are. A person with a daily writing system becomes a writer through daily practice, regardless of publication status. A person with a daily exercise system becomes an athlete through consistent training, regardless of competition results. How to build effective systems. Step 1. Identify your North Star. Start with a directional goal that provides orientation but doesn't create pressure. Instead of lose exactly 20 pounds by June 1st, think, become healthier and more energetic. Instead of make $100,000 this year, think, build valuable skills and create more income opportunities. Your North Star should inspire and guide, but not constrain or pressure. Step 2. Break down into daily behaviors. Identify the specific daily or weekly behaviors that would naturally lead toward your North Star. Focus on inputs, what you can control, rather than outputs, results you can't directly control. For health, daily walks, home-cooked meals, 7+ hours of sleep, staying hydrated for career growth. Daily skill practice, weekly networking, monthly learning investments, regular value creation. For relationships, daily appreciation expressions, weekly quality time, monthly new shared experiences. Step 3. Start ridiculously small. Begin with versions of your behaviors that are almost impossible to fail. The goal is to establish consistency, not to achieve perfect execution immediately. Instead of exercise for an hour daily, start with put on workout clothes daily. Instead of write 1,000 words daily, start with write 1 sentence daily. Instead of read for an hour daily, start with read 1 page daily. Step 4. Create feedback loops. Design ways to measure and track your system behaviors, not just outcomes. This provides regular reinforcement and helps you adjust your approach. Track how many days you completed each behavior, how the behaviors feel and what you learn, what obstacles arise and how you overcome them, which aspects of your system work best. Step 5. Optimize and expand. As your system behaviors become automatic, gradually optimize and expand them. Add complexity, increase duration, or incorporate new elements that support your North Star. The key is to maintain the foundation while building upward. Never sacrifice consistency for intensity. Systems thinking in practice. The health system, breakfast, midday, homemade lunch and hydration check. Evening 7+ hours of sleep preparation routine. Weekly, meal prep session and strength training. Monthly, health check-in and system adjustment. The learning system, reading. Weekly, 1 new learning resource or course lesson. Monthly, apply new knowledge to a real project. Quarterly, assess progress and adjust learning focus. The relationship system, friends. Monthly, reach out to distant friends or colleagues. Quarterly, plan special experiences with loved ones. Common system mistakes. Mistake 1. Making systems too complex. Initially start with 1-3 core behaviors maximum. Complex systems are harder to maintain consistently. Mistake 2. Focusing on outcomes within systems. Even within a system approach, avoid measuring success by short-term results. Focus on process consistency. Mistake 3. Abandoning systems during good results. When your system starts producing outcomes, resist the urge to abandon the process that created them. The system is why you're succeeding. The compound effect of systems. Systems create compound growth through consistent daily actions. Small improvements, maintained consistently, create remarkable results over time. A 1% daily improvement compounds to 37% better over a year. A 1% daily decline compounds to nearly 0. But the real power of systems isn't mathematical, it's identity-based. When you focus on becoming the type of person who consistently does beneficial things, outcomes become byproducts of who you are, rather than external targets you're chasing. Goals suggest you can control outcomes. Systems acknowledge you can only control inputs. When you focus entirely on what you can control and trust the process to generate results, you develop anti-fragility, the ability to get stronger through challenges rather than weaker. The most successful people aren't those with the most impressive goals, they're those with the most consistent systems. They've learned to fall in love with the process rather than the results. And paradoxically, this process focus generates better results than goal obsession ever could. Chapter 15. Track it, reinforce it, repeat it. You're convinced you've been eating healthy, but when you actually log your food for a week, you discover you've been consuming twice as many calories as you thought. You believe you're exercising regularly, but your workout log reveals you've only been to the gym 3 times in the past month. You feel like you're making progress on your important project, but your time tracker shows you've spent more hours on social media than focused work. This is the awareness gap. The difference between what we think we're doing and what we're actually doing. Without measurement, we live in a fog of self-deception, making decisions based on feelings and impressions rather than facts. Tracking closes this gap by creating objective awareness of your behaviors. What gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets improved. But tracking isn't just about measurement. It's about creating feedback loops that reinforce positive behaviors and redirect negative ones. The psychology of tracking. Tracking works because of several psychological principles. The Hawthorne effect. People change their behavior when they know they're being observed or measured. Simply tracking a behavior makes you more conscious of it. Naturally leads to improvement. When researchers studied workers' productivity, they found that productivity increased regardless of whether conditions improved or worsened, because the workers knew they were being observed. This same principle applies to self-tracking. Variable reinforcement tracking provides variable reinforcement through progress visibility. Some days you'll see improvement, other days you won't. But the possibility of progress keeps you engaged. This variable reward schedule is highly motivating. It's the same principle that makes gambling and social media addictive. Identity evidence. Each time you track a positive behavior, you're collecting evidence that you're becoming the type of person you want to be. This evidence reinforces your desired identity and makes future positive choices feel more natural. The 3 types of habit tracking. Type 1. Manual tracking. Manual tracking involves consciously recording your behaviors, usually on paper or in a digital app. This requires the most effort, but provides the highest awareness. Effective manual tracking methods. The habit scorecard. Create a simple chart with your key habits listed vertically and days of the week, horizontally. Mark an X for each completed habit. This visual approach makes patterns obvious and creates satisfying streaks. The plus-minus-equal system at the end of each day. Mark each habit with five. Plus if you did better than usual, minus if you did worse than usual, equal if you performed at your normal level. This system focuses on improvement rather than perfection, and provides nuanced feedback about your progress. The detailed journal. Write brief notes about each habit session, how it felt, what you learned, what worked well, what was challenging. This deeper reflection provides insights that simple checkmarks miss. Type 2. Automatic tracking. Automatic tracking uses technology to measure behaviors without conscious effort. This approach is less burdensome, but provides less awareness than manual tracking. Examples of automatic tracking and exercise apps that monitor phone usage and website visits, bank account tracking for spending patterns, calendar analysis for time allocation, GPS tracking for location-based habits. Type 3. Hybrid tracking. Hybrid tracking combines automatic measurement with manual reflection. Technology handles the data collection, while you provide context and analysis. Hybrid approach examples. Technology does use spending tracking apps, but manually categorize expenses and reflect patterns. Let your phone track screen time automatically, but manually log how different apps make you feel. The 4 rules of effective habit tracking. Rule 1. Track your most important habits only. Don't try to track everything. You'll overwhelm yourself and abandon the system. Focus on 2-4 habits that have the biggest impact on your desired outcomes. Priority tracking areas: day care, health habits, exercise, nutrition, sleep, productivity habits, deep work, planning, learning, relationship habits, quality time, communication, appreciation, budgeting, investment. Rule 2. Track immediately after the behavior. The longer you wait between completing a habit and tracking it, the more likely you are to forget or rationalize. Build tracking into your habit routine by doing it immediately after the behavior. Examples: Taya, mark your workout complete while you're still sweating. Log your meal while you're still eating. Record your reading session immediately after closing the book. Note your meditation session right after opening your eyes. Rule 3. Focus on leading indicators, not lagging results. Track the behaviors that drive outcomes rather than the outcomes themselves. You can control your actions. You can't directly control results. Leading indicators: trackable, work completed. Lagging indicators: less controllable, per, weight lost, skills mastered, books finished backed, projects completed. Rule 4. Make tracking satisfying. The tracking system itself should provide immediate satisfaction. Choose methods that feel rewarding rather than burdensome. Satisfying tracking methods: colorful charts and visual progress bars, streak counters that celebrate consistency, photo documentation of progress, achievement badges or rewards for milestones, sharing progress with supportive friends or communities. Advanced tracking strategies: pattern recognition method. Instead of just recording whether you completed habits, track contextual factors that influence your performance. DRA, energy level 1 to 10 scale, mood before and after, time of day, location, other people present, obstacles encountered. This data helps you identify optimal conditions for habit success and plan around challenging circumstances. The minimum effective tracking: find the smallest amount of tracking that still provides useful feedback. This might be, take a single weekly yes/no question. Did I exercise at least 3 times this week? The daily 1-10 rating: how healthy were my food choices today? A simple streak counter: how many consecutive days have I meditated? The review and adjust system: set your regular reviews of your tracking data to identify patterns and make improvements. Weekly review: what patterns do you notice? What worked well? What obstacles arose? Monthly review: are you tracking the right habits? Do your methods need adjustment? Quarterly review: how has your tracking system evolved? What have you learned about yourself? Common tracking mistakes. Mistake 1. Perfectionism: tracking should capture reality, not create pressure for perfection. Some days you'll miss habits, and that's normal data worth recording. Mistake 2. Tracking too many things. Comprehensive. Tracking is overwhelming and unsustainable. Focus on your highest impact habits. Mistake 3. Abandoning tracking. After streaks break. Don't stop tracking when you break a streak or have bad days. These are the most important times to maintain awareness. Mistake 4. Judging rather than learning. Use tracking data for learning and improvement, not self-criticism. Every data point provides useful information about your patterns and preferences. The compound effect of tracking: consistent tracking creates multiple compound benefits. Increased awareness. You become more conscious of your actual behaviors versus your perceived behaviors. Better decision making. Data helps you make informed adjustments to your approach. Enhanced motivation. Visual progress provides ongoing encouragement. Identity reinforcement. Each tracked positive behavior strengthens your desired identity. Pattern recognition. Over time, you identify what conditions lead to success or failure, making tracking automatic. The ultimate goal is to make tracking so integrated into your habits that it becomes automatic. This happens through habit stacking. After I complete my workout, I will mark it on my tracking chart. Environmental design. Keep tracking tools visible and easily accessible. Identity integration. I am someone who pays attention to my progress. Simplification. Use the simplest effective tracking method. When tracking becomes automatic, It transforms from a task you have to remember into a natural part of your routine. You're not just building habits, you're building the meta-habit of self-awareness that accelerates all other positive changes. The most successful people aren't necessarily more disciplined or motivated, they're more aware. They know what they're actually doing, how it's working, and how to adjust their approach based on real data rather than wishful thinking. This awareness, cultivated through consistent tracking, becomes the foundation for continuous improvement in every area of life. This is Chapter 16, Accountability and the Power of Community. You promise yourself you'll wake up early tomorrow to exercise. When the alarm goes off, you hit snooze and stay in bed. No consequences follow. Only the quiet disappointment you feel toward yourself. Now imagine you've committed to meeting a workout partner at 6 a.m. When the alarm goes off, you get up despite not feeling motivated because someone else is counting on you. This is the power of external accountability. While internal motivation fluctuates and willpower depletes, accountability to others creates consistent external pressure that keeps you aligned with your commitments regardless of how you feel. Most people try to change their habits in isolation, relying solely on personal discipline. This approach ignores a fundamental truth about human behavior. We are social creatures who perform better when others are watching, supporting, or depending on us. The science of social motivation. Humans evolved in tribal groups where social cooperation was essential for survival. Our brains are hardwired to care about our reputation, seek approval from others, and avoid letting down people we respect. These social instincts can be powerful allies in habit formation. Research by Dr. A.T. Milkman at the University of Pennsylvania found that people are 50% more likely to stick to exercise routines when they commit to workout partners compared to exercising alone. The fear of social disapproval motivates consistency, even when personal motivation is low. Social accountability works through several psychological mechanisms. Social proof. When others around you are engaged in positive behaviors, those behaviors seem more normal and attainable. Reputation management. You behave consistently with how you want others to perceive you. Loss aversion. Pain of disappointing others often outweighs the pleasure of avoiding difficult tasks. Identity reinforcement. When others see you as someone who does certain things, you're more likely to act consistently with that identity. The 4 levels of accountability. Level 1. Public declaration. The simplest form of accountability is making your intentions public. When you announce your goals or commitments to others, you create social pressure to follow through. Effective public declaration strategies. Share your habit goals on social media with regular updates. Tell family members about your commitments and ask them to check in. Join online communities related to your habits and participate actively. Write about your journey in a blog journal that others can read. Public declarations work best when they're specific and include regular reporting commitments. Instead of "I'm going to get healthy," try "I'm committing to walking 10,000 steps daily and will post my step count every Sunday." Level 2. Accountability partners. An accountability partner is someone who regularly checks in on your progress, celebrates your wins, and helps you problem-solve obstacles. The best accountability relationships are reciprocal. You support each other's goals. Choosing effective accountability partners. Someone who shares similar values and takes commitment seriously. A person you respect and don't want to disappoint. Someone who will be honest about your progress without being judgmental. A person who is also working on their own goals and can relate to your challenges. Accountability partner guidelines day. Schedule regular check-ins daily, weekly, or bi-weekly. Be specific about what you're committing to and how you'll report progress. Focus on encouragement and problem solving rather than criticism. Celebrate each other's wins and learn from each other's setbacks. Level 3. Group accountability. Groups provide more diverse, multiple perspectives and enhanced social pressure compared to individual partnerships. The group dynamic creates a sense of belonging and shared identity around positive behaviors. Types of accountability. Groups. Mastermind groups for professional development. Online communities focused on specific habits. Local meetups around shared interests. Effective group participation. Show up consistently, even when you don't feel like it. Share your struggles honestly, rather than pretending everything is perfect. Celebrate others' progress genuinely and learn from their strategies. Contribute value to the group through encouragement, resources, or insights. Level 4. Professional accountability. Professional accountability involves hiring someone whose job is to help you stay consistent with your goals. This creates the strongest external pressure because you're financially invested and working with someone whose expertise and reputation depend on your success. Professional accountability options, development, therapists for mental health and behavioral changes, tutors or teachers for learning goals, financial advisors for money management. The accountability design framework. Step 1. Choose your accountability level. Match your accountability level to the importance and difficulty of all your habits. More challenging or important habits benefit from higher levels of accountability. Level 1. Public declaration. Good for habits you're confident about, but want extra motivation for TEFL. Level 2. Partners. Ideal for moderately challenging habits that benefit from regular support. Level 3. Groups. Perfect for habits that involve community or when you want to learn from others. Level 4. Professional. Best for high-stakes habits or when you need expert guidance. Step 2. Define clear commitments. Vague commitments lead to weak accountability. Be specific about exactly what behavior you're committing to, when and how often you'll do it, how you'll measure and report progress, what happens if you don't follow through. Instead of "I'll exercise more," commit to "I'll do 30 minutes of cardio every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. and will text my accountability partner my completion status by 8 a.m. each day. Step 3. Create reporting systems. Design simple, consistent ways to share your progress. Eco-Edo. Daily text messages with workout completion status. Weekly photos showing progress on organization project. Monthly meetings to discuss learning goals and share insights. Quarterly reviews of financial habits with detailed spending analysis. Step 4. Build in consequences. Effective accountability includes both positive and negative consequences. Positive consequences. Rituals for achieving streaks. Zaris. Rewards for monthly consistency milestones. Day. Recognition within your accountability group. Progressive privileges as you demonstrate reliability. Negative consequences. Accountability requirements after repeated lapses. Temporary loss of privileges or rewards. Increased reporting requirements during inconsistent periods. Creating your habit community. The most successful habit builders don't just find accountability, they create entire communities that support their desired lifestyle. Building your habit community or organizations aligned with your goals. Reduce time with people who discourage or sabotage your positive changes. Become the kind of person others want as an accountability partner. The network effect. Your habits are contagious. Research shows that behaviors spread through social networks, like viral infections. If your friends exercise regularly, you're more likely to exercise. If your colleagues prioritize learning, you're more likely to invest in skill development. This network effect works in both directions. By improving your own habits, you positively influence the people around you. Your consistency gives others permission to change. Your progress inspires others to start their own journeys. Common accountability mistakes. Mistake 1. Choosing ineffective partners. Avoid partners who are unreliable, overly critical, or not committed to their own growth. The wrong accountability partner can demotivate rather than inspire. Mistake 2. Making vague commitments. Specific commitments create clear accountability. Vague goals lead to excuse-making and rationalization. Mistake 3. Only focusing on outcomes. Account for behaviors and systems, not just results. You control your actions, not your outcomes. Mistake 4. Abandoning accountability after initial success. Don't drop your accountability systems once habits feel established. External support helps maintain consistency during challenging periods. The multiplication effect. Accountability doesn't just help you stick to habits, it multiplies their effectiveness. When others are invested in your success, you receive diverse perspectives on overcoming obstacles, emotional support during difficult periods, celebration and encouragement that reinforces positive identity, learning from others' experiences and strategies, increased motivation from not wanting to let others down. The most transformative changes happen not in isolation but in community. When you surround yourself with people who support your growth and hold you accountable to your best self, consistency becomes not just easier, but inevitable. You're not just changing your habits, you're changing your social environment to make success the natural outcome. Chapter 17. Design your day like a high performer. You wake up feeling like you're already behind. The alarm goes off, and before your feet even hit the floor, your mind is racing through the endless list of things you need to accomplish. Sound familiar? Most of us stumble through our days like we're walking through a dark room, bumping into furniture, searching for light switches that seem to move every time we reach for them. We react to whatever comes our way, constantly putting out fires, wondering why we never seem to make real progress on what matters most. Here's what the productivity gurus won't tell you about designing your perfect day. They'll sell you elaborate morning routines that take 2 hours to complete, complex scheduling systems that require more time to maintain than they save, and rigid frameworks that crumble the moment real life happens. They're teaching you to build a house of cards in a windstorm. But what if I told you that high performers don't actually have perfect days? What if the secret isn't about controlling every minute, but about creating intentional anchors that keep you grounded no matter what chaos swirls around you? In this chapter, we're going to dismantle the myth of the perfect schedule and discover how to design days that actually serve your deepest goals, not just your surface-level to-do list. The perfect day illusion. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that productive people have their days perfectly mapped out from sunrise to sunset. We imagine them gliding through color-coded calendars, never missing a beat, never facing unexpected interruptions or energy crashes. This fantasy is not just unrealistic, it's counterproductive. When you try to control every moment of your day, you're setting yourself up for a devastating cycle. One disruption throws everything off track, leaving you feeling like you failed before noon. You abandon your entire system because it couldn't withstand the first real test. High performers understand something different. They don't design perfect days. They design resilient days. Days that can bend without breaking, that have structure without rigidity, that create momentum regardless of what unexpected challenges arise. Think of it like this. A skyscraper doesn't survive earthquakes because it's perfectly rigid. It survives because it's designed to sway with the forces acting upon it while maintaining its essential structure. Your day needs the same flexibility. The 3-anchor system. Instead of trying to control every hour, focus on establishing 3 powerful anchors that will hold your day together, no matter what storms hit. These anchors aren't about time, they're about intention. The first anchor is your identity moment. This is the first thing you do after waking that reinforces who you're becoming. It doesn't have to take long, but it has to be consistent. Maybe it's writing 3 lines in a journal, doing 20 push-ups, or reading 1 page of something that inspires you. The specific action matters less than the daily declaration it makes about your priorities. Your identity moment isn't about productivity, it's about identity. You're telling yourself, before the world starts making demands on your attention, that you are someone who invests in growth. You're someone who keeps commitments to yourself. You're someone who starts each day with intention rather than reaction. The second anchor is your power block. This is a protected period, usually 90 minutes to 2 hours, where you work on your most important project without interruption. Not urgent tasks, not email, not the endless stream of other people's priorities. Your power block is sacred time for the work that actually moves you toward your biggest goals. Here's the key. Your power block doesn't have to happen at the same time every day, but it has to happen every day. Some days, it might be first thing in the morning when your mind is fresh. Other days, when life intervenes, it might happen in the evening. The timing is flexible, but the commitment is absolute. The third anchor is your reflection ritual. Before your day officially ends, you take 5 minutes to review what happened, not to judge or criticize, but to extract wisdom. What worked? What didn't? What do you want to adjust tomorrow? This isn't about perfection. It's about learning. Your reflection ritual creates a bridge between today and tomorrow. Instead of days blending into an indistinguishable blur, you create conscious endpoints that help you grow from each experience. Energy architecture. Most people schedule their days based on time, but high performers schedule based on energy. They understand that your capacity for different types of work fluctuates throughout the day, and they design their schedules to match tasks with optimal energy states. Pay attention to your natural rhythms. When does your brain feel sharpest for creative work? When do you naturally feel more social and collaborative? When does detailed, analytical work feel most manageable? When does your motivation for difficult conversations peak? Once you understand your energy patterns, you can create what I call energy architecture. This means placing your most demanding work during your peak energy windows and using your lower energy periods for tasks that don't require your full mental capacity. If you're naturally sharp in the morning, that's when you tackle your power block. If you're a night owl, protect your evening hours for deep work and use mornings for routine tasks. There's no universal right answer, only what works for your unique energy signature. The buffer principle. Here's where most day planning systems fail. They assume everything will go according to plan. High performers build buffers into their days, like engineers build safety margins into bridges. A buffer isn't empty time, it's protection against reality. Between meetings, build in 15 minutes for transitions. Between projects, allow space for your brain to reset. Between commitments, create room for the unexpected phone call, the urgent request, the brilliant idea that deserves immediate attention. Buffers don't make you less productive, they make you more resilient. When you're not constantly running from one thing to the next, you show up fully present for what matters. You make better decisions because you're not operating in constant crisis mode. The two-list strategy. At the end of each day, create two lists for tomorrow. The first list contains your non-negotiables. These are the things that absolutely must happen for the day to feel successful. Keep this list short, usually 3 items or fewer. The second list contains your possibilities. These are things you'd like to accomplish if time and energy allow, but they won't make or break your day. This list can be longer, but think of it as a menu of options rather than a set of obligations. This two-list approach prevents overwhelm while maintaining ambition. You always know what truly matters, but you also have productive options ready when you find yourself with unexpected time or energy. Designing for reality, not fantasy. The most important principle in designing your day is honesty about who you actually are, not who you think you should be. If you're not a morning person, don't build a system that requires you to be at peak performance at dawn. If you get distracted easily, don't create a schedule that demands sustained focus for hours without breaks. Work with your natural tendencies, not against them. High performers don't overcome their human limitations through willpower. They design systems that make their limitations irrelevant. Your ideal day isn't about cramming in more activities. It's about creating more alignment between your daily actions and your deepest values. When your day feels designed rather than defaulted, when your energy flows toward what matters most, when your time serves your growth rather than just your obligations, you'll discover something remarkable. You don't need perfect days to create an extraordinary life. You need intentional days, resilient days, days that serve your becoming rather than just your doing. Tomorrow morning, when that alarm goes off, you won't wake up feeling behind. You'll wake up knowing exactly what matters, exactly where your energy should go, and exactly how to navigate whatever comes your way. That's not just better productivity, that's better living. The architecture of your days becomes the architecture of your life. Design with intention, build with flexibility, and watch as your daily choices compound into the transformation you've been seeking. Chapter 18: How to Bounce Back After You Slip. It's 9 p.m. on a Tuesday, and you're staring at the empty space where your workout was supposed to happen. Again, or maybe you're looking at your phone, realizing you just spent 2 hours scrolling when you promised yourself you'd work on that important project. Perhaps you're standing in your kitchen, wrapper in hand, wondering how you ended up stress-eating your way through half a bag of cookies when you've been so good about your eating habits lately. Here's the moment that separates those who transform their lives from those who stay stuck in endless cycles of starting over. It's not the slip that matters, it's what happens in the next 60 seconds. Most people treat setbacks like evidence of failure. They slip once and suddenly they're telling themselves they're not disciplined enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough to achieve their goals. They turn a single moment of being human into a story about why they can't change. But what if I told you that how you handle your inevitable slips is actually more important than never slipping at all? What if the real skill isn't perfection, but recovery? What if your setbacks could become your greatest teachers instead of your biggest obstacles? In this chapter, we're going to revolutionize how you think about failure, setbacks, and the messy, imperfect journey of becoming who you want to be. The all-or-nothing trap. The cruelest lie we tell ourselves is that progress requires perfection. We think that missing one workout means we might as well skip the rest of the week, that eating one unhealthy meal means the entire day is ruined, that breaking our morning routine once means we're back to square one. This all-or-nothing thinking doesn't come from nowhere. It's how most of us were taught to think about success and failure from childhood. You either pass or fail the test. You either make the team or you don't. You either follow the rules or you break them. But real life doesn't work in absolutes, and sustainable change certainly doesn't happen in straight lines. The people who create lasting transformation understand that setbacks aren't detours from the path. They are part of the path. Think about learning to walk as a child. You didn't fall down once and decide walking wasn't for you. You didn't compare yourself to adults and conclude you weren't meant to be bipedal. You fell. You got back up. You fell again, and you kept going because the desire to move forward was stronger than the temporary discomfort of falling. Somewhere along the way, we lost that natural resilience and started treating every stumble like a catastrophe. The 24-hour recovery rule. The most powerful strategy I can give you for handling setbacks is this. Give yourself exactly 24 hours to recover from any slip before it becomes a derailment. When you miss your morning meditation, skip your planned workout, eat something you wish you hadn't, or fall back into a habit you're trying to break, you have a choice. You can either let that moment expand into hours, days, or weeks of abandoned efforts, or you can contain it to exactly what it was, one moment of being human. The 24-hour recovery rule works because it acknowledges that setbacks will happen while refusing to let them define you. It's not about pretending the slip didn't occur or minimizing its impact. It's about preventing one broken link from destroying the entire chain. Here's how it works. When you notice you've slipped, you immediately ask yourself one question. What's the smallest possible step I can take in the next 24 hours to get back on track? Not a grand gesture, not a complete life overhaul, not a promise to be perfect from now on. Just the smallest possible step that moves you back toward who you're becoming. The curiosity response. Most people respond to setbacks with judgment. They ask themselves, why did I do that? In the tone of a disappointed parent, they analyze what's wrong with them, what they're lacking, why they can't seem to get their act together. High performers respond to setbacks with curiosity. They ask, why did that happen? In the tone of a scientist examining an interesting phenomenon, they treat their slips as data points rather than character flaws. When you approach your setbacks with curiosity instead of judgment, something powerful shifts. Instead of getting stuck in shame and self-criticism, you start gathering valuable information about your patterns, your triggers, and your needs. Maybe you skipped your workout because you're actually overtraining and your body needs rest. Maybe you stressed eat because you've been ignoring your emotional needs all week. Maybe you fell back into old habits because your new systems don't account for the realities of your current life circumstances. Curiosity turns setbacks into teachers. Judgment turns them into evidence for why you can't change. The 3 R's. Recognize, reset, recommit. When you do experience a setback, move through what I call the 3 R's as quickly as possible. First, recognize what happened without drama or denial. You ate the donut. You skipped the gym. You stayed up too late scrolling your phone. You lost your temper with your kids. Whatever it was, acknowledge it clearly and simply, like you're reporting the weather. This recognition isn't about judgment, it's about awareness. You can't address what you don't acknowledge, and you can't learn from what you pretend didn't happen. Second, reset your expectations and your environment. If you're trying to eat healthier but you keep junk food easily accessible, reset your environment by removing the temptation. If you're trying to wake up earlier but you stayed up too late, reset by going to bed at a reasonable time tonight. More importantly, reset your story about what the setback means. It doesn't mean you're weak or undisciplined or destined to fail. It means you're human, you're learning, and you're still in the process of change. Third, recommit to your next right action. Not to being perfect forever, not to never slipping again, but to taking the very next step that aligns with who you're becoming. If you missed your morning workout, maybe your recommitment is taking a walk during lunch. If you ate poorly at breakfast, maybe it's choosing a healthy snack when you get hungry later. If you lost your temper, maybe it's apologizing and asking for a do-over. The power of recommitment isn't in the size of the action, it's in the speed of the response. The faster you can move from setback to forward action, the less power that setback has to derail your progress. The compound effect of recovery. Here's something remarkable that happens when you get good at bouncing back. Your setbacks start making you stronger instead of weaker. Each time you practice the skill of recovery, you build what I call resilience muscle. Resilience muscle isn't about never falling down, it's about getting really good at getting back up. And like any muscle, it grows stronger with consistent use. People who transform their lives aren't those who never experience setbacks. They're those who become excellent at recovery. They develop such confidence in their ability to get back on track that temporary slips lose their power to create lasting damage. Think about it this way. If you knew with absolute certainty that you could recover quickly from any setback, how much less scary would it be to take risks, try new things, and push yourself beyond your comfort zone? When you trust your ability to bounce back, you become willing to venture further from shore. The identity protection protocol. One of the most damaging aspects of setbacks is how we let them assault our identity. We go from "I'm someone who exercises regularly" to "I'm lazy and undisciplined based on missing a few workouts." We shift from "I'm getting better at managing my money" to "I'm terrible with finances" because of one impulsive purchase. Your identity is too important to be held hostage by temporary actions. When you slip, protect your identity by separating your actions from your essence. Instead of "I'm so lazy," try "I'm someone who values fitness, and yesterday I made a choice that didn't align with that value." Instead of "I have no self-control," try "I'm building better habits, and I'm still learning what works for me." This isn't about making excuses or avoiding responsibility. It's about maintaining the core identity that will pull you forward while acknowledging the temporary behavior that pulled you backward. The learning loop. The most successful people I know have turned their setbacks into a learning loop. Every time they slip, they extract at least one piece of useful information that makes them more likely to succeed next time. Maybe they learn that they need to eat more protein in the morning to avoid afternoon cravings. Maybe they discover that they need to put their phone in another room to avoid late-night scrolling. Maybe they realize they need to schedule difficult conversations earlier in the day when their emotional reserves are higher. Each setback becomes a small experiment that yields valuable data about what works and what doesn't in their unique life circumstances. Over time, this creates a personalized success system that's incredibly robust because it's built on real-world testing rather than theoretical perfection. The comeback story. Here's the truth that changes everything. Your setbacks can become the most powerful part of your success story. Not despite them, but because of them. The lessons you learn in the valleys make you more capable on the peak. The resilience you build in difficult moments becomes the foundation for extraordinary achievements. Every person who has created meaningful change in their life has a collection of comeback stories, moments when they fell down and chose to get back up, times when they slipped backward and found a way forward, seasons when they lost their way and discovered an even better path. Your slips don't disqualify you from success. They qualify you for wisdom, for empathy, for the deep knowledge that comes only from walking the difficult path of change. Tomorrow, when you inevitably face another moment of being human, another small setback or temporary slip, you'll have a choice. You can let it become evidence of why you can't change, or you can let it become practice for the skill that matters most, the ability to begin again. The most successful people in the world aren't those who never fall. They're those who have mastered the art of getting back up quickly, learning something valuable, and continuing forward with even more determination than before. Your next step back isn't a step backward. It's a chance to practice the most important skill you'll ever develop, the skill of resilience, recovery, and renewal. Master that skill, and no temporary slip can keep you from the transformation you're creating. Attempt 19. Mastery is built, not born. You've seen them before. The piano prodigy who sits down at age 5 and plays like they've been practicing for decades. The athlete who seems to have been born with a basketball in their hands. The entrepreneur who launches their first business at 16 and makes millions by 20. We love these stories because they're compelling, dramatic, and they let us off the hook. If extraordinary ability is something you're born with, then the rest of us have a convenient excuse for why we haven't achieved what we dream of achieving. We can point to the lack of natural talent and resign ourselves to mediocrity. But what if I told you that almost everything you believe about talent, ability, and mastery is wrong? What if the people you think were born gifted actually developed their abilities through processes you can understand and replicate? What if mastery isn't a mysterious gift bestowed upon the chosen few, but a predictable outcome of specific practices available to anyone? The story we tell ourselves about talent is one of the most limiting beliefs we carry. It keeps us from attempting things we could excel at. It makes us quit too early when progress feels slow. It convinces us that extraordinary achievement is reserved for other people. In this chapter, we're going to dismantle the talent myth and discover the real science of how mastery develops. More importantly, we're going to give you a roadmap for building expertise in any area you choose to pursue. The talent myth explosion. Let's start by destroying the most damaging lie ever told about human potential: that some people are just naturally good at things while others aren't. This myth has been so thoroughly debunked by research that it's almost criminal how widely it's still believed. When researchers actually study people who demonstrate exceptional ability, they find something remarkable and consistent. The vast majority of people we label as naturally talented actually began their journey earlier, practiced more intensively, received better instruction, or had environmental advantages that accelerated their development. That 5-year-old piano prodigy, their parents were both musicians who filled the house with music from birth, started lessons at age 3, and provided intensive daily practice opportunities. The seemingly natural athlete, they grew up in a family obsessed with sports, had access to excellent coaching from an early age, and spent thousands of hours in deliberate practice before you ever noticed them. The overnight success entrepreneur, they've been starting small businesses since elementary school, had parents who modeled entrepreneurial thinking, and failed at dozens of ventures before achieving the success you noticed. What looks like talent is almost always the result of earlier, more intensive, and more strategic effort that happened before most people were paying attention. The 10,000-hour misunderstanding. You've probably heard of the 10,000-hour rule that suggests mastery requires roughly 10,000 hours of practice. While this concept points in the right direction, it's created a dangerous misunderstanding about how expertise actually develops. The problem with focusing only on the number is that it makes practice sound like a quantity game rather than a quality process. People think they just need to show up and go through the motions for enough hours, and mastery will magically appear. But not all practice is created equal. You can spend 10,000 hours doing something badly and end up with very little improvement to show for it. You can also spend 2,000 hours practicing with focused intensity and proper methodology and achieve results that surpass someone who practiced carelessly for much longer. The research shows that mastery doesn't come from time spent practicing. It comes from time spent in what experts call deliberate practice. This is a specific type of practice designed to push you beyond your current abilities and systematically address your weaknesses. The architecture of deliberate practice. Deliberate practice isn't just doing something repeatedly until you get better. It's a carefully constructed approach to improvement that has specific characteristics. First, deliberate practice requires focused attention on areas where you're currently struggling. It's not practicing what you're already good at. It's deliberately working on the skills that are just beyond your current comfort zone. This means practice sessions are often uncomfortable because you're constantly pushing against the edge of your abilities. Second, deliberate practice demands immediate feedback about your performance. You need to know quickly whether what you're trying is working or not so you can adjust your approach in real time. This is why working with coaches, mentors, or using measurement systems is so crucial for accelerating development. Third, deliberate practice involves repetition with refinement. You're not just repeating the same action over and over hoping it will improve. You're making small adjustments each time, testing different approaches, and gradually building more sophisticated skills. Fourth, deliberate practice requires full mental engagement. You can't improve significantly while going through the motions or letting your mind wander to other things. The most effective practice happens when your complete attention is focused on the task and the learning process. The plateau breaking protocol. Everyone who pursues mastery encounters plateaus. These are periods where your improvement seems to stall despite continued effort. Most people interpret plateaus as evidence that they've reached their natural limit. But research shows that plateaus are actually predictable parts of the learning process that can be systematically overcome. Plateaus usually occur when your current practice methods have taken you as far as they can go. You've optimized within your current system, but to continue improving, you need to change the system itself. Breaking through plateaus requires what I call the plateau protocol. First, you need to identify specifically what's limiting your progress. Is it a technical skill you haven't developed? A mental approach that's holding you back? A physical limitation you need to work around? A lack of strategic thinking about the domain? Once you've identified the limiting factor, you need to design practice sessions specifically targeted at addressing that weakness. This often means stepping back from trying to perform at your current best level, and instead focusing on building the foundational skills you're missing. For example, if you're a runner who has plateaued in your race times, the limitation might not be your cardiovascular fitness, but your running form efficiency. Improving your times might require temporarily slowing down to work on technique, before you can run faster with better mechanics. The expert's advantage. When researchers study what separates experts from competent performers, they find some fascinating differences in how experts think about and approach their domains. Experts don't just know more facts or have better technique, though those things matter. More importantly, experts have developed what scientists call domain-specific pattern recognition. They can see meaningful patterns and relationships that are invisible to less experienced practitioners. A chess master doesn't just know more moves than an amateur player. They can look at a board position and immediately recognize patterns they've seen in thousands of previous games, which allows them to quickly identify the most promising strategies without having to calculate every possible move. An experienced doctor doesn't just know more medical facts than a medical student. They've developed pattern recognition that allows them to quickly narrow down potential diagnoses based on subtle combinations of symptoms that less experienced practitioners might not notice or connect. This pattern recognition isn't magic. It's the result of extensive deliberate practice that has created sophisticated mental models of how things work in their domain. The mastery timeline. Understanding how long mastery actually takes can help you set realistic expectations and stay committed during the inevitable difficult periods. While the exact timeline varies by domain and individual circumstances, researchers have identified some general patterns. Basic competence in most skills usually develops within the first 6 months to 2 years of focused practice. This is the period where you go from complete beginner to someone who can perform the basic functions without embarrassing yourself. Solid proficiency typically takes 3 to 7 years of consistent practice. At this level, you can handle most common situations competently, and you're beginning to develop your own style and approach. Expert-level performance usually requires at least 10 years of intensive, deliberate practice. This is where you begin to push the boundaries of what's possible in your domain and contribute original insights or innovations. Master-level achievement, where you're among the very best in the world at something, typically requires 15 to 20 years of dedicated effort, though some domains require even longer. These timelines aren't meant to discourage you. They're meant to liberate you from unrealistic expectations. When you understand that mastery is a long-term journey, you can stop being frustrated by slow daily progress and start appreciating the compound effect of consistent effort over time. The growth mindset accelerator. Perhaps the most important factor in developing mastery is what psychologist Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset. This is the belief that your abilities can be developed through effort, strategy, and learning from others. People with growth mindsets see challenges as opportunities to improve, rather than threats to their self-image. They view effort as the path to mastery, rather than a sign of inadequacy. They see failures as information about what to try differently next time, rather than evidence of fixed limitations. This mindset becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you believe you can improve, you're more likely to seek out challenges that promote growth. You're more likely to persist through difficulties, because you see them as temporary obstacles rather than permanent barriers. You're more likely to seek feedback and coaching because you see them as opportunities rather than judgments. The mastery habits. Building expertise requires developing what I call mastery habits. These are daily practices that consistently move you toward higher levels of capability. The first mastery habit is showing up consistently. Mastery is built through regular, sustained effort over long periods of time. This means establishing routines that ensure you engage with your chosen domain frequently enough for skills to compound. The second mastery habit is seeking discomfort. Growth happens at the edge of your current abilities. which means effective practice often feels challenging and sometimes frustrating. Learning to embrace this discomfort rather than avoid it is essential for continued improvement. The third mastery habit is studying failure intensively. Experts don't just practice until they get something right. They analyze their mistakes to understand exactly why they went wrong and what needs to change to prevent similar failures in the future. The fourth mastery habit is seeking superior models. This means finding people who perform at levels you aspire to reach and studying how they think, practice, and approach challenges. You're not trying to copy them exactly, but to understand principles you can adapt to your own development. The fifth mastery habit is teaching others. There's something about explaining concepts and techniques to others that deepens your own understanding and reveals gaps in your knowledge that you wouldn't otherwise notice. Your mastery declaration. The journey toward mastery begins with a decision, not a gift. It starts when you stop asking whether you have enough natural talent and start asking whether you're willing to commit to the deliberate practice required to develop expertise. Mastery isn't about being born special. It's about being willing to do what most people won't do consistently over long periods of time. It's about choosing to embrace difficulty rather than avoid it. It's about viewing your current abilities as a starting point rather than a limitation. You already have everything you need to begin building mastery in whatever domain calls to you. You have the ability to focus your attention, to practice deliberately, to learn from feedback, and to persist through challenges. The question isn't whether you're talented enough. The question is whether you're committed enough to begin the journey, and disciplined enough to stay on the path when progress feels slow. Your mastery journey doesn't start when you discover your hidden talent. It starts the moment you decide that becoming excellent at something matters more to you than staying comfortable with your current abilities. That moment can be right now. That domain can be whatever calls to your deepest interests and values. That future version of yourself who has developed true expertise is waiting for you to take the first deliberate step. Mastery isn't born, it's built. And you're the architect, the contractor, and the craftsperson all in one. The blueprints are available, the tools are accessible, and the only thing standing between you and the expertise you desire is your willingness to begin building. Chapter 20. The compound effect of small changes. 25 years from now, you'll look back on today and see it as one of the most important days of your life. Not because anything dramatic happened, not because you made some grand gesture or life-altering decision, but because today is the day you began to understand the most powerful force in human transformation. The compound effect of small, consistent changes. Right now, that probably sounds ridiculous. Today feels ordinary. You woke up, went through your routines, handled your responsibilities, and made dozens of small choices that seemed insignificant in the moment. You might have chosen to take the stairs instead of the elevator, to read for 10 minutes instead of scrolling your phone, to have a difficult conversation instead of avoiding it, or to go to bed 30 minutes earlier than usual. These tiny decisions feel meaningless because you can't see their impact immediately. You don't feel dramatically different after reading for 10 minutes. Your body doesn't transform after taking the stairs once, and your relationships don't shift after one honest conversation. But here's what most people miss about change. The most powerful transformations don't happen in dramatic moments. They happen in the accumulation of countless small moments that seem ordinary when they occur, but become extraordinary when they compound over time. In this final chapter, we're going to explore why small changes create big results, how to harness the compound effect in your own life, and why the choices you make today are far more important than you realize. The mathematics of marginal gains. Let's start with a simple mathematical example that illustrates why small improvements create exponential results. If you get just 1% better at something every day for a year, you don't end up 1% better. You don't even end up 365% better, which is what most people would guess. If you improve by just 1% every single day, after 1 year, you're 37 times better than when you started. That's a 3,700% improvement from daily changes, so small you might not even notice them happening. This is the mathematical reality behind every major transformation you've ever witnessed or experienced. The person who loses 50 pounds didn't do it through one dramatic diet overhaul. They did it through hundreds of small food choices that individually seemed insignificant but collectively created a new body. The entrepreneur who built a million-dollar business didn't do it through one brilliant strategy. They did it through thousands of small actions, conversations, and decisions that each moved them slightly closer to their vision. The couple who creates a deeply fulfilling marriage doesn't do it through grand romantic gestures. They do it through daily acts of kindness, attention, and care that individually feel ordinary but collectively create extraordinary intimacy. Why our brains miss the compound effect. There's a reason most people underestimate the power of small changes. Our brains are wired to notice dramatic differences, not gradual ones. We're excellent at detecting sudden changes in our environment because that ability helped our ancestors survive immediate threats. If a saber-toothed tiger appears suddenly, you need to notice that immediately. If the temperature drops gradually over several weeks as winter approaches, you can adapt slowly without alarm. This same mental wiring that helped us survive as a species now works against us in modern life. We notice the dramatic weight loss from a crash diet, but miss the steady fat loss from consistent small changes. We pay attention to the overnight business success, but ignore the years of small improvements that made it possible. Our brains also struggle with something psychologists call hyperbolic discounting. This means we overvalue immediate rewards and undervalue delayed benefits. Even when the delayed benefits are much larger, eating the donut gives you immediate pleasure, but gradual health consequences you can't feel today. Skipping the workout saves you immediate discomfort, but costs you gradual fitness gains you won't notice missing right away. Avoiding the difficult conversation gives you immediate peace, but gradually erodes the relationship in ways that seem disconnected from today's choice. The daily choice architecture. Understanding the compound effect changes how you think about daily choices. Every decision becomes an investment in a future version of yourself. Every small action becomes a vote for the type of person you're becoming. When you choose to read instead of watching television, you're not just entertaining yourself differently for 30 minutes. You're investing in a more knowledgeable, thoughtful version of yourself who will have accumulated hundreds of hours of learning over the next few years. When you choose to have a difficult conversation instead of avoiding it, you're not just dealing with today's discomfort. You're investing in a version of yourself who is braver, more honest, and capable of deeper relationships. When you choose to save $20 instead of spending it impulsively, you're not just preserving today's money, you're investing in a version of yourself who has financial freedom and options that seem impossible from your current situation. This perspective transforms how you evaluate choices. Instead of asking, "What do I feel like doing right now?" you should start asking, "Which choice serves the person I'm becoming?" The 3 compound accelerators. While all small changes compound over time, some create exponential results faster than others. I call these compound accelerators because they don't just improve one area of your life. They create positive ripple effects that enhance everything else you're working on. The first accelerator is investing in your learning capacity. Every book you read, every skill you develop, every area of knowledge you explore makes you more capable of learning the next thing faster and more effectively. Knowledge compounds because each new piece of information connects with and enhances everything you already know. Someone who reads consistently for 5 years doesn't just know more facts. They've developed pattern recognition that allows them to learn new concepts more quickly. They've built vocabulary that helps them understand complex ideas more easily. They've trained their mind to focus deeply, which improves their performance in every other area that requires concentration. The second accelerator is investing in your physical energy. Every workout you complete, every healthy meal you choose, every good night's sleep you prioritize doesn't just improve your physical condition, it enhances your mental clarity, emotional stability, and creative capacity. Physical vitality compounds because it provides the foundation for excellence in every other area of your life. When you have more energy, you make better decisions. When you feel physically strong, you're more likely to tackle challenging projects. When your body feels good, your confidence increases and your relationships improve. Physical health is the compound effect multiplier that amplifies everything else you're working to build. The third accelerator is investing in your relationship. Every act of kindness, every moment of genuine listening, every instance of reliability doesn't just improve one relationship. It builds your reputation as someone worth knowing, creates a network of people who want to help you succeed, and develops your emotional intelligence in ways that benefit every future relationship you'll have. Strong relationships compound because they create opportunities you couldn't access alone. They provide support during difficult times that allows you to take risks you wouldn't otherwise attempt. They offer perspectives and resources that accelerate your growth in unexpected ways. The compound effect timeline. Understanding when to expect results from the compound effect can help you stay committed during the inevitable periods when progress feels invisible. The timeline typically follows a predictable pattern. In the first 30 days of any new habit or change, you'll primarily notice the effort required rather than the benefits gained. This is the hardest period because you're doing the work without seeing obvious results. Your brain will try to convince you that the change isn't working, and you should return to your old patterns. Between 30 and 90 days, you'll start noticing small improvements, but they'll still feel fragile and inconsistent. Some days will feel like progress, others like you're moving backward. This is normal and expected. The compound effect is working, but the results are still too small to feel dramatic. Between 90 days and 1 year, the changes become more noticeable and stable. You'll start getting comments from others about positive changes they're observing. You'll begin to feel like the new behaviors are becoming natural rather than forced. After 1 year of consistent small changes, the compound effect becomes undeniable. The improvements are significant enough that you can clearly see the difference between who you were and who you've become. Other people will start asking you for advice about how you made such positive changes. After several years of consistent compound effect practices, you'll look back and be amazed at how different your life has become. Changes that seemed impossibly slow in the beginning will have created transformations that exceed what you thought was possible when you started. The consistency paradox. Here's something counterintuitive about the compound effect. Being perfectly consistent is less important than being generally consistent over long periods of time. Most people get this backward. They try to be perfect for short periods and then give up entirely when they inevitably miss a day or make a mistake. The compound effect doesn't require perfection, it requires persistence. If you read for 30 minutes 5 days out of 7 every week for 5 years, you'll still gain most of the benefits of reading 30 minutes every single day. If you exercise 4 times per week consistently for 2 years, you'll be in excellent shape even though you're not working out daily. The key is never letting small gaps become large gaps. Missing 1 day is no problem. Missing 2 days in a row starts to weaken the neural pathways you're building. Missing a full week begins to erode the identity changes you're creating. Missing a full month essentially means starting over from the beginning. This is why recovery speed matters more than perfection. When you inevitably miss a day or make a choice that doesn't align with your goals, the question isn't whether you failed, it's how quickly you can get back on track. The identity compound effect. The most powerful aspect of the compound effect isn't what it does to your circumstances, it's what it does to your identity. Every small action you take is a vote for the type of person you believe yourself to be. When you choose to exercise, even when you don't feel like it, you're voting for the identity of someone who prioritizes their health. When you choose to read instead of watching television, you're voting for the identity of someone who values learning and growth. When you choose to save money instead of spending impulsively, you're voting for the identity of someone who makes thoughtful financial decisions. Over time, these identity votes compound into a fundamental shift in how you see yourself. You stop being someone who's trying to get in shape and become someone who is athletic. You stop being someone who's trying to learn and become someone who is curious and knowledgeable. You stop being someone who's trying to improve their finances and become someone who is financially responsible. This identity shift is crucial because it changes your default behaviors. When you truly see yourself as an athletic person, choosing to exercise feels natural rather than forced. When you see yourself as someone who values learning, reading becomes automatic rather than something you have to convince yourself to do. The environmental design for compound success. Your environment plays a crucial role in whether small changes compound into major transformations or fade away before they can gain momentum. The most successful people don't rely on willpower alone to maintain good habits. They design environments that make good choices easier and bad choices harder. If you want to eat healthier, you don't just rely on self-control when you're hungry and standing in front of your refrigerator. You fill your kitchen with healthy options and remove the processed foods that derail your progress. You make the good choice the easy choice, and the bad choice require extra effort. If you want to read more, You don't just promise yourself you'll choose books over television. You put books in visible places throughout your home, remove apps that distract you from your phone, and create a comfortable reading space that invites you to spend time there. If you want to save more money, you don't just rely on self-discipline when you see something you want to buy. You set up automatic transfers to your savings account, use apps that make spending require extra steps, and surround yourself with people who model good financial habits. Your environment should be designed to make the compound effect inevitable rather than dependent on daily decisions about what to do. The compound legacy. The most inspiring aspect of understanding the compound effect is realizing that the small changes you make today will impact not just your own life, but the lives of everyone around you. Your commitment to growth creates permission for others to pursue their own development. Your consistency demonstrates that lasting change is possible. Your transformation becomes evidence that ordinary people can create extraordinary results. Children who grow up watching parents read daily are more likely to become lifelong learners. Colleagues who observe your commitment to health often start making better choices about their own wellness. Friends who witness your financial discipline begin questioning their own spending habits. The compound effect of your small changes extends far beyond your individual life. You become a catalyst for positive change in your family, your workplace, your community, and your world. Your compound moment, right now, in this very moment, you're standing at a compound crossroads. The choices you make in the next few hours, days, and weeks will either set you on a path toward the transformation you desire, or keep you stuck in patterns that maintain your current results. This isn't about making perfect choices from this moment forward. It's about understanding that small, consistent actions in the direction of your goals will compound into remarkable results over time. It's about trusting the process even when you can't see immediate progress. The person you'll be 5 years from now is being shaped by the decisions you make today. The relationships you'll have, the health you'll enjoy, the financial situation you'll experience, the skills you'll possess, and the impact you'll make are all being influenced by choices that feel insignificant right now. You don't need to overhaul your entire life today. You don't need to make dramatic changes that require enormous willpower to maintain. You simply need to identify 1 or 2 small actions that align with who you want to become, and commit to doing them consistently. Maybe it's reading for 15 minutes before bed. Maybe it's taking a 10-minute walk after lunch. Maybe it's writing 3 sentences in a journal each morning. Maybe it's calling 1 person you care about each week. Maybe it's saving $5 every day. The specific action matters less than the consistency and the direction. What matters is that you begin, that you trust the process, and that you allow the compound effect to work its magic in your life. 25 years from now, when you look back on today, you'll see it as the day everything began to change. Not because of any dramatic moment, but because it was the day you started making small choices that compounded into the extraordinary life you're now living. The compound effect isn't just a nice theory about how change works. It's the most reliable path to transformation available to any human being willing to trust the process and stay committed to their growth. Your future self is waiting for you to take the first small step. That step is available to you right now. The compound effect clock starts ticking the moment you begin. What will you choose?